so we can end this before 10 o'clock. Let's open our meeting at 6:37, according to me.
Motion to close.
Second.
Move to waive the reading.
Once again,
I move to not to read the recording. What is it? The announcement of open meeting
waive.
recording.
The
Or-
COVID warning, waive the COVID. I second that, Dick.
okay, any discussion? Okay, here we go. First, the roll call votes. Dick,
Aye.
Marilyn,
Aye.
Sean,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Norm, I. Okay. Next order, if I can keep myself somewhat organized here, is minutes.
Yeah, I'll motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second, but I have a question for Sean.
Okay.
On your project for the marijuana, did that include the selling of the product on the farm?
On the okay, so which project are you talking about? The bylaw change or my personal business venture? The oh, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I think
Hello?
what Marilyn's talking about, Sean, is it was the bylaws what we discussed, wasn't it, Marilyn?
Okay,
So,
my
yeah.
bad. Yeah, the change, one of the changes to the bylaw, and I don't have it put up here in front of me
Sean?
because yes,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yeah. My question was, does your project for growing on a farm include selling the product on the farm?
Yes, the changes will allow for cultivation, manufacturing, and selling.
So I'm not, I don't think that was
all to be
quite
kept,
reflected.
which is
I don't think that was reflected in the minutes. I'm looking here, the last paragraph.
the
Excuse me.
okay.
Yeah, Marilyn, you're right. It just says subsidized income used for marijuana cultivation. It doesn't really give the three things that Sean described.
Right, I just would like to have that reflected.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, there's it was quite a bit of changes.
He did mention that he would also like there to be an opportunity for more than one retail marijuana shop. Would that be separate from what would be happening on the farm?
Yes, as I understand it, it would.
Yeah, that would.
Okay, then I'll
Well,
add that in there.
not necessarily, because including in the bylaw change would allow for the zoning for retail to be changed as well. So that would allow for anyone that wanted to, anyone that applied and qualified, did meet the town's RFI for a retail. There were several changes in the bylaw that weren't really, I mean, there were specifics in the minutes. It's pretty general.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how much.
One of the things.
I just wasn't sure, Sean, how much to include.
Well, it was. I do recall that it was said to be tabled, because the discussion was going on and on. It was really late.
Right.
So, yeah,
Well-
and that's not in the minutes.
If that's agreeable to
Nor
you,
is it on the agenda.
if that's agreeable to you to include selling it on the farm, then I suggest we move on.
Yeah, it's agreeable. If you want to go ahead and change that into minutes, I mean, that is part of it. There's, and to make, and if someone, I can't make this amendment,
So,
because to that part. But
What-
I do recall saying that was mentioned to be tabled.
um,
Okay, so I've added in the part that it would include manufacturing, cultivation, and sale of the product. And I've also added that the topic will be tabled for another meeting. Does that cover everything that everybody wanted?
it satisfies me.
Okay, so then you'll just have to amend the motion to say with amendments.
Okay.
Okay, let me go ahead and rescind my motion since I'm in the minutes themselves. Let me just abstain from all of it. So I'll rescind my motion and leave that up to someone else, just so that there's no.
I guess I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with corrections.
Not all of them been done yet.
Oh, you got some too?
Oh, yes. Let's go to page 2.
Dick, hold on. Can somebody just second that for discussion?
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, anything further on minutes?
Yes, on page 2, down the bottom, Mark. On Barre Paxton Road, okay. It says there, let me get up here, on line 2, mobile food trailer that will be permanently stationed at the site. But however, it is on wheels and can be moved at times. So you're contradicting each other right there.
Well, Mr. Brian said that their intention was to keep the trailer parked there at all times, but that if it needed to be moved, it could be.
Well, then I would say offhand, being a permanent station, should come out.
I agree with you, Dick. Or reword it anyway.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
if you just take out the word permanently.
yeah, that's good.
Mhm.
And then the next page, approximately 5 lines down, where it says, and no issues were noted, I object to that.
Mhm.
Rotated Dave down just a little bit. Right there, or the 3, 4, 5. Yeah, right there where it says no issues were noted. And that was wrong because I had brought up the 21E. And that's, that was brought up by the company.
Dick, I did mention that further down. The reason I said that is we had discussed what would be referenced in the decision itself, and it was stated that there would be no comment from the board in the decision, but I did make note of your 21E concern a little bit further down.
I did see it, but once again, they can turn around and utilize this at a court or whatever. No issues were noted, even though it was further down. I just don't feel that something like that. I'll let you you agree or disagree, but
I
that's
see
my
what you're saying,
feeling.
Dick. So we should just say we're in receipt of, Dick, we should just say we're in receipt. So Dick, should we just say we're in receipt of the report and leave it at that?
In receipt of the report. That probably would cover everything.
Okay, then
So
I should
we
probably further down, because it was stated in the meeting that that there was going to be, no issues noted in the decision itself. Unless I misunderstood that. So should I also retract that from the minutes? That's a little bit further down right before the motions?
Would it be reasonable to add in where it says no issues were noted, that no issues related to the proposed use?
Okay. No
Would
issues.
that work?
Proposed use were noted. Okay, I changed it to that if everybody else is amenable to that.
I'll go along with that. Now, the next thing. It's about 9 or 10 lines down where it says Pleasantdale Road. At the end of the sentence, she inquired if there would be bathroom facilities on site. There would, and Mark said there would be. Now, I'm questioning, is that porta potties or is that in building bathrooms? For if it's
my understanding,
if it is in bathroom or in building rather, and the 21E thing is still not settled, is that should that be stated as such? Or is that out of our jurisdiction? It's up to the Board of Health?
I thought, from my understanding, talking to Mark, Dick, that it was going to be porta potties, but somebody should obviously, maybe we send a note to the Board of Health to have them check to make sure that there's portable restroom facilities on site and they're not using existing house or property. Does that make sense?
It does to me, but I don't know how. I don't want the town to get involved in a lawsuit if something happens to somebody.
I have a question about are they allowed to be operational right now, or still? Because they're operational. I mean, they're open for business. I don't know who makes that decision, but as far as we're concerned, the planning board's concerned, is all the paperwork and everything finalized?
No.
It's on the agenda to discuss it.
It's on the agenda for us to agree with the conditions.
Right.
Because they're, like I said, they're open and selling food.
Correct. All right. Let me see. Right across from Maryland, it says modification must come back to the board. I would like to know if must could be changed to shall.
Dick, can you just be a little more specific? I'm not sure
All
where
right,
you're
down.
referencing.
You see where the bulletin it says motion?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, go back up.
Okay,
3
I
lines.
see it. Mm-hmm.
And it says modification must come. I'm saying the modification shall come and shall conform with the submitted site plan. And if you rotate down more, right under where it says Sean the second time, one more line down, you could rotate down a little bit, or up, or however to move it. There's another will, and that should be shall also. Motion to approve the site plan as presented by Mark Brandon with the condition that a review, it says will, and I'm saying said shall take place 12 months. There it is, right
I'm
there.
okay with
Right
that.
across from Dawn.
My only question on that is where it's a motion that's already been made and that wording wasn't specifically used, if it would be necessary for us to make a new motion. I don't know if we can amend a motion. I'm not certain on that. Peter would know best, but
It is
he's not
verbiage.
here.
I think it's just will versus shall.
The motion is in the paperwork itself. The condition.
Dick, I'm not sure I see an issue here. I mean, the decision has language relative to the 1 year piece.
So Dave, the decision that you wrote up indicates that it will happen in 12 months, no matter what, correct?
What I say here is that the site plan permit is granted for 1 year from the date that is filed with the town clerk's office. If the permit is not renewed by the applicant, the permit shall lapse.
Perfect. Dick, I think that covers it. He's only got 12 months on that permit, so he's got to come in for a renewal, otherwise it's gone.
Which is what I
What do you
understood.
think?
Which is what I understood the board wanted to do.
Oh, I'm 100% with that, Dave.
Well, will versus shall. That's all I'm saying. The rest of it's fine. I'm just saying legal wise. I'm just thinking that you'll see shall.
Yeah, but that none of that language is in the actual decision anyway.
Yeah, because we're signing off on the decision, Norm, right? We're not signing off on the motion.
Right.
Right. I would think the decision would supersede the minutes anyways,
All
because
right.
that's a legal document.
Right, I agree.
And further on the next page, says street acceptance phase 1. The planning office was in receipt of findings as built, and Mr. Blair responds to Quinn's engineer memo pertaining to outstanding items. Dave will have everything prepared for the March 23rd meeting. And that, and the one thing that I have not seen yet, before it goes before the town or before it goes on the warrant, where are all the copies of the permits that we requested from DPW director?
Well, when we get to it, Dick, I don't believe they've got their Quinn report finalized. So I think they still got 20% of things to do on the Quinn report before we even get to the to accept it, if I'm not mistaken. I know I'm getting ahead of the game, but
well, everything's being pushed. I am going to push this because, you know, anyways.
Well,
no,
Dick,
I agree with you. I don't think it's going to make this warrant, but that's my opinion.
Dick, have you been down to talk with Joe personally?
Have I what?
Have you been down to talk with Joe personally to get this stuff?
I am anticipating on going down there either tomorrow or sometime Thursday.
Okay.
But, you know, I'll talk to him, but it's supposed to be sent to the planning board. I know that he was working on it, so.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, that's it.
Norm, I think if you, again, this is my opinion, and it's not, I'm not putting words in Joe's mouth, but I think he's been a little bit busy with budgets over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, hey, so is everybody else.
He
Which,
just has a big one compared to a lot of other people.
he was asked about this quite some time ago. And,
Okay.
My part of my guess might be that they might have to do a lot of searching to get the stuff.
All right.
And what's wrong with that? I just want to make sure that we're all set. I don't want to be hung up.
Well, Norm, to Dick's point, if something goes sideways on this phase 1 or phase 2 with this, again, I'm guessing with any water or anything coming out on the road, or I don't care about private property, it's the road I worry about. We better make sure we got all of our I's dotted and T's crossed, to Dick's point.
Yeah, I can buy that. As far as the off-site sewer permits, yeah, it's nice for us to know it, but that really still falls under DPW's jurisdiction.
And if it was connected incorrectly, you need to know.
You mean, Dick, the road sewers that are coming into the subdivision?
Gentlemen, before, if I may, through the chair, let's deal with these minutes before we get off track on talking about the things that
Good point.
on the Quinn report. Because there are like 8 items that aren't resolved. But it seems like we're getting sidetracked.
Yeah, you are correct.
No, I'm if you read what it said, they will have everything prepared for the March 23rd meeting. And everything is including these, the permits.
Yes, but we're talking on the minutes and how they're written.
Right, I think that was my point. This is the minutes, not whether the report is complete, and with the discussion of whether or not it's complete would take place later.
Yeah.
I think with the information that Dave had at the time, he indicated that, and not to speak for Dave, he thought everything would be ready for the March 23rd meeting, but I assume, a lot of this was out of his control.
Actually, I appreciate that, Tamika, but if there's anything, I would recommend that if there's anything that Dick would like to see added, add it. Once we get to the actual item 8, then I would be glad to address things related to this further.
Good.
Okay, if you can just let me know if there's something specific you want me to change in that sentence.
Dick, I think we leave the sentence alone, and then we just take care of it. We take care of it when we get down to items for the Quinn report.
All right, let's move on then.
Is there anything else on the minutes? Let's see, do we have a correct motion?
Yeah, I motioned Norm to accept minutes with corrections.
Okay.
Then
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call. Tim,
Aye.
Sean,
Abstain.
Marilyn,
aye.
Dick,
All right.
Norm, aye. Okay. Next item. We do have a number of notices from other towns. Is Does anybody have any interest in any of those?
All I can say, Norm, is I can't wait to see a self-storage on the other side of the Jed's Hardware.
Well,
That's
Actually, if
gonna
I
be
could,
interesting.
my understanding is that this is near the town line, adjacent to Howe's farm stand and New England.
Oh, because it says 17 Main Street,
It's
which
not
is
17 Main Street. It's what they did was they didn't put punctuation there, or they didn't put a number. The way
oh,
it should read is for property located at map 82 parcel 17, comma, also known as 0 Main Street for a variance, which in this case is a use variance to allow commercial use in the R40 zone to construct a self-storage facility.
well, as a budding town, we should say no.
Well, that's what, if the board has some comments that would like to be circulated to the zoning board, then we can do that. I will say that this matter was postponed until April 14th.
I don't know. Are those, I guess, the Norm and Dick, are those places, or Marilyn or Sean, are those places a big traffic issue?
Where did you say this was going to be located?
Actually, I misspoke. It's April 15th is when this was postponed. So this is going to be in the vicinity of Howe's Farm stand on the other side of the street in like the last parcel before you enter town here. So it's right at the border between
Rutland
town.
and Holden, you're saying?
It's in Holden itself, but it's directly abutting this town in particular if you wanted to have a better place of it.
Okay,
Most things
so-
the board sees do not directly abut, but in this case it does.
you're talking on the right-hand side coming into Rutland,
That's correct.
and you've taken a look at Central Tree Subdivision Estates, and over in that corner there is open space. This does not go into it, or does it?
This is on private property, not part of that subdivision.
So is it on an A&R lot, Dave, that just sits on the road?
No, it's on a lot that has already been created. It's an historic
Okay.
lot owned by this entity right here. He owns two lots
Okay.
side by side. Right now, if you pass by it, you'll see trees and vegetation and growth.
Yeah.
There's one house before it as you come in. And it's, like I said, direct across the street, kitty corner from Howe's and the New England design. New England Troopers.
Yeah.
Farm.
And I got to say, from a traffic standpoint, that's always a pain because you got people turning left onto that road to head back to what I would call the Buffalo Farm, but they're turning left to go on that road, and then you've always got people coming in and out of house. So this is going to be a little bit more of a traffic mess if you've got storage people coming in and out too. And that's a curve there too. So, I don't know. That's my opinion. Not that I want to ever squash business, but that seems to me like a little bit of a congested area to put in a storage facility.
Well, that's personally, if I may through the chair, Tim, that's for holding to decide.
Nope, we get to say something on this, don't we, Dave? As an abutting town.
Sure, as in all cases, notification is required to abutting towns, and certainly if that abutting town has some issues, they're always free to put something in writing as a memo, show up at the meeting or what have you.
That's my concern. And Norman, I don't know. Have we ever done this before?
To the best of my knowledge, I don't think we ever have.
All right. Well, maybe I'll just.
I have personal feelings in my travels. I drive by quite a few of these self-storage facilities, I've never seen, and I can go as far as to say, in my memory, I don't think I have ever seen anyone driving into or out of any one of them. That's from
True.
here all the way to New Hampshire. So, the idea of traffic congestion, I, yeah, I
No,
just can't see
I
that,
don't think I've ever seen anyone either.
you know.
I mean, unless through construction.
Yeah, during
Yeah.
construction, yes, certainly there's
Yeah.
gonna be trying, but you're not gonna have 15 to 20 people in there at a time going to
Yeah.
the storage facilities.
Yeah.
How many complaints have
All
we
right,
had
let it go. I'm good.
on Lucia's self-storage over there at Four Corners in terms of traffic?
I've never seen anybody go in there.
No, I've seen people there, and I've seen people at others also, but that's all right. I don't feel, I just want to make sure this is not to do with any of the land that goes into Rutland.
All right, I'm good. I'm fine. Leave it go. You guys have convinced me. I'm good.
Okay, anything
Market
else
basket, maybe.
anything else on the public notices?
Just one thing, the one before there, the Stonehouse Hill Road, is that off of Salisbury Street and it goes over to the reservoir?
Actually, it's not off of Salisbury because Fisher Road does not continue all the way through. To get to this, you have to go through Worcester, up Pleasant to where the reservoir is. So you have to go around. You can't get through Fisher Street.
Okay.
Fisher Street is off of Salisbury, and it's marked as a non-continuous road.
Yeah.
Basically, the road stops. It becomes a dirt cart path at some point. And it's not. It should not be accessible to get to this place.
Okay.
Not to say this, not to say someone's not going to try, but it wouldn't be a good idea.
House used to be a nursing home, and I've been out there a few times, and I, not knowing if it's still in good repair, but I would say the location is very good for their proposed purpose. Is that road, Dave, across the reservoir, kind of? That's how you.
It is, yeah. It has a view of the reservoir.
Yeah.
Yeah, the road you had to cross, kind of that dam thing at the reservoir.
Exactly right. If you keep going, you'll go to the equipment which is used to maintain the reservoir. So you turn right at that juncture, and you're on Stonehill Road.
Okay. I'm going to check out Hubbardston there, the 69 Gardner Road. I believe that's a facility that's it's been for sale for a while, for lease. All set in my book.
Okay, so much for notices. Planning board budget.
I vote to increase our stipend.
I honestly, Sean, think it's and Norm, I think it's going to go the other way.
Yeah. I guess I've got two comments. Number one, after attending the FinCom meeting, whatever the heck it was last week, I guess, from the demeanor, let me call it, of a certain planning board member's wife, I see that there is.
Dick, what are you doing?
Yeah. They are absolutely going to need that $5,000 from the planning board. You know,
Yeah.
you know, it's not all in dried ink at this point. But from what I heard, I don't see any other way. What I mean, I don't know. They were quibbling over getting $200 here and $50 there, and oh my God.
Let's get an extra $1 million back from the school.
And Norm, the numbers. Yeah, I'd like to see that, Dick. I mean, there's numbers out there anywhere from a total deficit for last year and this year of upwards of $1 million. So, you know, I'll make a motion that we give or take out of our revolving fund $5,000 in use for the town planner's salary. Maybe what's the word I'm looking for? Salary
this year.
for the fiscal year of 2021.
Tim, are you okay?
I'm sorry, for the fiscal year.
I'm sorry, Tim, I didn't mean to cut you off. Are
I'm
you
sorry,
okay with using the word appropriate in the motion?
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. And it's not 2021, it's 2022 is what they're working on for the budget.
Correct.
You know, rather than appropriate, since we use
Subsidize.
we use the word disbursements from the
Okay, disperse $5,000.
to the general fund.
Do we have, Norm, do we have to give that to the general fund?
Yes.
No, we want it to his account number, whatever the payroll account number is. I don't want it to the general. No way.
Okay.
It has to go
Okay.
direct.
So
To the salary account number.
I guess I'll remake my motion. Yeah, I'll make my motion to disperse $5,000 from the planning board's revolving fund to the specified account number of the town planner.
Second.
Okay, I think that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
And we have a second. So do we have any discussion on that one?
I would like to ask what do you think about adding something to the effect that this is a 1-year deal and to be discussed again next year? It's not a commitment for eternity.
We included it for the fiscal year, so that's it.
That covers it.
That covers it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. For fiscal year 2022.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Dick,
Aye.
Marilyn,
Aye.
Sean,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Norm, aye. Okay, motion carries unanimously. Okay, the only other comment I have on our planning board budget is, and I don't know how widely she sent it out, but Tamika sent me an update on our bookkeeping, including a new spreadsheet that she has created. And apparently she has reconciled all of the things that did not get recorded, and also has now set up, I'm going to assume, some lines of communication with Becky and so forth to make certain that we are made aware of any deductions, like for legal fees and that sort of thing that come out of our administrative budget. And I guess I just want to comment, Tamika, an absolutely fabulous job, and thank you very, very much.
Oh, thank you, Norm. I appreciate that. I was happy to do it.
One I've heard before, I think I agree with Norm. That must have been a tremendous job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, just
You know, when Becky takes the money out for legal, don't we have to vote on that?
No, if I may, it's actually not Becky. So the legal fees to KP Law are paid through the town administrator's office. Essentially, the town is sent one big bill and then it's paid accordingly to the various accounts that used it. However, in my process here, I discovered that KP Law's bills have been paid out of our administrative account when they should have been paid out of the subdivision accounts when the work was specific to a subdivision. So I've set it up for them to do that going forward with the appropriate account numbers and ask them to let me know anytime any account is debited for KP Law. Because that was not being communicated to us.
Tamika,
but still, should we not be in, should be a line item on the agenda stating this has been withdrawn and voted on?
Yeah. Basically, you've got to go back quite some time, but several, I'm going to say actually at this point, many years ago, the planning board granted me the authority to simply pay any bills that come in.
Yeah, and I was fine with that, Norm.
But Norm, you always brought it up, and we had no problem with that. Now, if they're trying to get money out and don't say anything, as they have in the past now.
Well,
I've got a problem with that too.
I want more transparency. I want clarity on this stuff, and
well, the way that I've set it up, Dick, is that so essentially the three main bills that get paid are KP Law, consulting for Quinn Engineering that doesn't specifically tie to a subdivision account, and Gatehouse Media, the TNG for the publishing of our ads. So I have all of that information logged in this spreadsheet. And so, and we keep copies of all of the invoices in a binder in Dave's office. I keep copies of all the checks that we receive. So there's definitely a paper trail for everything that gets paid or deposited to the account.
Well, that's fine. It's just what comes out.
Tamika, what I wanted to ask. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Norm. I'm sorry.
I just, I certainly do not see the necessity for us to, vote on every expense that comes in, but it would probably not be a bad idea if we did print out and distribute, let's say, at least quarterly, a spreadsheet showing all of our activities financially.
There you go. I'll go along with that.
Me too.
And I gotta call on you again, Tamika. Are you willing to do that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we can do that. I think, yeah, I tried to make it as transparent as possible. I even made sure to reference the sub accounts within the administrative account as a whole, so you could see specifically where it's coming from, whether it's purchase services or it's payroll and wages for myself in that 4% portion for Dave. So I'm hoping that going forward, it will be very clear. There's definitely a paper trail in that binder in Dave's office. I've reconciled everything for FY21. So I think and hope that we're in good standing, and hopefully, that'll be good for you guys.
Norm, the one thing I wanted to make sure that stopped as of June 1st or June 30th is no more automatic withdrawals from our account from the town because as of July 1st, we're contributing $5,000 to the planner's budget, and we're not going to have withdrawals at the same time.
Well, I think
so. If that's
yeah, I've made that about as clear as I can to our town administrator.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure if there was something set up on some program somewhere that it gets turned off. I don't know if that's Becky's side or whoever's side it is, but
I'm not sure exactly, but I would venture, I guess Becky would probably be the best starting place for that.
I just want to make sure that we give everybody notice is all I'm saying, is that so anyhow. The other thing, Tamika, I was going to ask, and I know you don't have it in front of you, the legal fees over the last, say, year or so that came out, are we talking hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars?
Not that much. I would say, hold on one sec. I actually have it in front of me. I want to say that there was probably only 2 KP laws that came out since the beginning of FY21. And one of them was for like $228, and the other one I think was for like $126.
Okay, all right.
It wasn't anything significant, but it was just something that Dave actually had brought it to my attention that if it's specific to, Brice Lemon, say, or Maple Hill, it should be coming out of their revolving account. And in talking to the TA's office, they said, oh, we just pay them all out of the planning board administrative account. So with being new, I said, okay, this is the way we have to do it going forward. I provided them with all the subdivision account numbers, and asked that, they confer with Dave to confirm which account it should be coming out of, because he's their go-to person for that.
If I could just jump in on this for a second. With respect, I'm with respect to what account these were paid from, I will just say that it was expressed that it was a particular account that it should come from, not just a general revolving account. So there was that level of specificity. So I don't know what to say to that. I will say that any town council expense is vetted through this board prior to it occurring. For example, on the Betsy A&R, the Welch Ave, the planning board specifically wanted that to be reviewed, so that was reviewed. Any expenditure is expressly authorized by this board before it actually occurs. A lot of these have to do with Brice Lemon, managing the hearing for the modifications and things of that nature. So if you need anything else from us in order to formally acknowledge these requests, we can do that.
No, Dave, through Norm, all I wanted to do was make sure that we weren't giving any builders a free legal ride. And a couple $100, I'm not going to quest over. I was fearful with Brice Lemon, we were in the $1,000, and that's where I was going to say we got to do some debit and credit fixing if that's the situation. But it sounds like it isn't, so I'm going to say move on.
Okay, just one final comment on this one. If my recollection is correct, in looking at Tamika's latest spreadsheet, we have somewhere in the vicinity of $42,000 in that administrative account. So we're very solvent.
All right, let's give Dave 8,000. The heck with 5.
Wow.
Let's give him a $3,000 raise because of all the work he does.
A second.
I was almost ready to suggest that.
Can we tell the town administrator what Dave's raise is?
I'm not going to get into that.
Okay, I'm sorry. But but Norm, we did have, when Susan was here, did we go through the process of review and raises for her? Only reason I'm saying this is mainly for Tamika's perspective.
Yeah, and then, like I say, I'm trying to probe my memory about that a little bit.
Because she's been with us a year, if I'm not mistaken, or a little over a year.
Yeah. I guess. Okay, I'm going to ask Tamika, are you on the same pay grade for all of your separate jobs here?
Yes. Yep, I'm at the same step for all of the 7 boards.
Okay. So
that's a tough one, Norm. How do we tell the other 6 boards that we're right and they're wrong?
Yeah, well, that's just it. So
well, I got control over the FICOM. I'll rough her up tonight.
Yeah.
for me because RDIC was told that FinCom said to Mr. Sullivan, no money for Tamika.
No, the FICOM didn't say that, Dick. The town treasurer basically said it's not available to do that.
Really?
Yep. The treasurer sent Ron an email and said that they can't pay out of the 53G fund. It has to come out of a administrative fund. Only thing that can come out of 53G is KP Law and Quinn Engineering.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was. So do we send a letter, Norm, recommending that maybe to the other? I don't know what to do. I'm struggling with this one.
You know, I hate to say this, but where she is working for so many
Yeah.
different boards, it, at least to my way of thinking, that needs to fall to the town administrator.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, hey, I don't want to start arguing with the different boards. I'll
Yeah.
argue with Ron, but
Should we send a letter of recommendation maybe to the town administrator? Is that something we should do? I'm sure Dick, Mike would send something. Maybe I don't want to speak for Mike Sullivan, but
Well, I feel that we should be doing all we can for her and for Dave.
yeah,
Please.
you know, I guess we can come up with something, you know, just kind of general that uh, planning board employees or whatever you want to characterize them as, you know, be granted the appropriate step and cost of living raises.
yeah. And could we even put in there? It comes out of our revolving fund that we can cover. I don't know how to word that. I mean,
Well, let me ask this, everybody. I thought it was planning board that was paying when Lori Becker was our secretary. I thought the planning board was paying her directly.
but she only did our board. She didn't do any other boards. Tamika's got 6 other boards she's helping out with too. That's the issue.
So is she a town secretary or is she a planning board secretary? I mean,
So
that's
Sean, essentially, I get paid 7 different ways, depending on the board that it is. So for you guys, I get paid out of the administrative account. For the Concom, I get paid out of the wetlands protection account. So it's different for every board because there technically is no specific job description for me because I've just kind of taken on more as the years have gone on, and it's just kind of evolved into its own animal, so to speak.
I've got the answer, Norm. I know what we can do. We'll get her 7 different employee numbers.
Right.
Why don't we just bake a cake and put a check inside of it wrapped up in a waterproof package?
I can buy that.
Hey, I'll
Marilyn.
take that.
Marilyn, have you been down to Shrewsbury Street in Worcester? I get this feeling.
Hey, the Doty is Italian, you know.
Yeah, I was thinking. You must
It's
know
also a
my good
street
friend,
name.
You must know my good friend, Mr. Johnny Camuso. Then.
street name heading into Spencer too. Okay, how about bonuses? Do we are we allowed to do that?
I don't think so,
No.
because everything's based, Norm, if I'm not mistaken, on steps and levels, if I remember right.
Right.
So I think all we can do is send a letter to the.
Directly.
I think all we can do is send a letter to the town administrator recommending whatever they can do. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can come up with something for our next meeting.
Excellent. All right. Next.
I want to say, Tamika, you do an awesome job of being. I'm glad that you're our secretary. For so far, you've been right on board with knowing what to do and keeping our minutes, and I commend you for that.
Oh, thanks, Sean. I appreciate that.
I'll second that.
Yes, definitely.
Well, thank you guys. I love working for you.
Yeah, I can't say enough, and especially being on the RDIC, you're a huge help to Mr. Sullivan, keeping him out of trouble.
Oh, yes. Mike and I are best friends.
Not only him, me too.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the vote of confidence. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Very welcome.
Are we ready to move on?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
please.
Okay, A&Rs, none. Maple Hill Estates, I don't believe we have anything.
You are correct. We don't have anything on Maple Hill.
Okay, Brice Lemon, in terms of inspections and that sort of thing,
We don't have anything on that, do we?
I don't think we have anything on that.
No, I would just add though that we do have the subdivision agreement and the partial release of covenant, which could be signed at any point after tonight. And then we do have that Mylar, which is part of the appeal, which could be signed but not released to the property owner.
So Dave, we can come up anytime this week and sign it, sign those 3 documents. Perfect. I'll see what I can
Great.
work my way into.
Okay, Brice Lemon, subdivision phase 1 street acceptance.
Oh boy.
Okay, now we do have something. So we do have a Quinn report. And I honestly can't say that I have read it in detail at this point. But I'm going to go, I guess, page by page. And let's
Norm,
see.
before you get started, I called Carl up because I wanted to understand these as-built plans versus the design plans of the subdivision. And Carl sort of set me straight. I come from a different industry where the plans you bring to build off of is the one you as built. And Carl basically said, typically, no, what you do is you're as builting the road. So I'm more acceptable to what he's done than what I was after spending 20 minutes talking with Carl. So I just wanted to throw that out there that I'm okay with what they're doing now. I just had to have Carl explain it to me and also back it up with this is typical of a lot of towns in Massachusetts, because I know I brought it up multiple times of where's all the drawings. So that's it. That's my commentary.
Okay. Okay. It looks sort of like number 4 on page 2 is the first one that deserves any comment, which we already have talked about.
So number 5, Norm, we're sticking to our guns on that. We want that certification supplied, correct?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. I do. I mean,
They have said that they will be supplied.
We got will or shall. I'm just joking.
well, let me rephrase that. They will be supplied or there'll be no street acceptance.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all resolved.
Yeah.
On number 7, have all the bounds been verified? Stating that all required bounds locations shown on record so that it has been set.
Yeah, I think, Dick, that's referring to the plan. When we get farther down in this report, you'll find out that the bounds haven't been verified.
Okay.
What's the issue about Mr. Calic's license expiration in June? Why did he write that, you think? I mean,
because he's not going to do it. He's basically done doing any more work. So if any, like Sean, that thing that Dave's talking about that we got to sign, that doesn't have Mr. Calick's survey license on it. It's got somebody else's.
Okay.
It just became a big issue with a certain selectman that didn't. I'll leave it at that.
No, I recall that.
Okay, see number 12 resolved. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 resolved.
18.
So on back on 15, it said the valve has been raised. Was it the valve or just the valve handle? It's something that just thinking how they would get in there for crying out loud. In order to raise the valve, disconnect the water and everything else, what are they going to put several 90s in there, 4 90s just to raise the valve up, or what?
I don't know. I see you resolved on that issue.
I was gonna say I see resolved.
Yeah, so I'm sure whatever was done was accepted by Quinn Engineering.
Well, it doesn't hurt just to. I mean, there's 8 issues that have to be finished on this. It doesn't hurt to just to Dick's point, just ask Carl what work was done to raise the valve, just to have him answer a question. He's going to have to go back through another report anyhow, so it doesn't hurt to ask the question, in my mind.
That's all I want to know. I feel it's something that could be done cheap and sneakily, or they could have really put an effort in there to raise it. I just wanted to know how it was done.
Can we do that, Norm? Just ask Quinn on March 17th report, item 15. Could you give details on the valve being raised?
Yeah, I guess we can do that.
Does that go, Dave? Does that go back through you?
Yeah, if the board's looking for information, I can ask the question.
I mean, I don't want to make a motion. I just think it's a good suggestion from what Dick said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think we need a motion for that.
Okay, good enough. So 18 is the big one because that's going to need some work.
Yeah.
So
I thought Clee was trying to help out on that too.
yeah, well, Clee is supposedly going to come to some kind of an agreement with that landowner, and all I can say on that, and I talked with Dave a little bit about it, and while creating new deeds and registering and all that kind of nice stuff can definitely take time, I feel that we would need at least some kind of a letter of agreement between the landowner and Mr. Blair, that what he is going to do is going to be acceptable.
Yeah, I like that.
Norm, because wasn't he just going to do some horse trading of land or something like that with front and back? If I remember right.
I think so.
I think you're right.
And,
okay.
I don't know, somewhere I think I don't know if it was an email or a phone call, that at least at this point, he and the landowner are in friendly territory on this.
Okay.
But we need, as far as I'm concerned, we need something in definitive in writing, at least.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I'm not a builder, so I don't know what it takes, but to tear that out and move that driveway, is that a couple days? Is that a week? Anybody know?
These days they could do that in a day.
Okay, all right.
But I
I
don't.
personally, Norm, would want to get after the work was done before we move on. I'd want to have Carl and Joe both give the thumbs up on that before we go anywhere. Before we
Yeah,
consider it resolved, I guess. I guess that's what I'm saying.
yeah, I'd buy that.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. 19 resolved. Number 20. I think we can kind of say that the snow has melted.
Yeah.
So
Get her
we can go
done.
look.
Wait, isn't there a snowstorm coming this weekend?
I don't think
What?
so.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Week after.
Yeah. So Dick, this is where I was talking about. They were where Carl had told me the drawings were good, but he hasn't verified any of the physical bounds in the field yet. So this is what he was waiting for.
Okay.
Okay, 21 through 24 resolved.
Now, when you get to 25, in there it says bollards and other protection may be required when Lemon Circle is constructed. It should be evaluated at that point. And they're talking about the transformer and something like that. Is there any protection on all transformers that are out there?
No.
And should there be? You know, because I was reading something about balls and other protection may be required. And I'm thinking about some of these that you see them, you know, there's an opportunity. Can they be hit or should they be something?
We need to put that, Dick, in our subdivision regs, I believe, because I know my company, we never had ballards around our traffic cabinets.
Yeah.
We changed our standard 2 years ago before I started with them, that all above ground traffic cabinets or any cabinets are located close to the road within 15 feet of the road will have ballards on each side of the cabinet. So, and if we have any vent stacks, we do that. So I've seen that, but I think to Norm's point, we can't enforce that unless we put it in our subdivision regs. That's my opinion. Or National Grid requires it, one of the two.
Well, it's just something because I've seen telephone and once in a while I'll see a transformer tilted, thinking that maybe a plow hit it or, you know, if they winged it or something.
I think it's a great idea. I do, but I think as part of our updates to subdivision, we should put it in there that any external devices being telephone, traffic cabinets, or transformers that are located within X amount close to the road should be surrounded by ballards, by concrete ballards for protection.
I think that's something that would probably be a good idea for the future to see where it can be put in.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 resolved.
Yep.
31 has not been done.
Yeah, what's it that Norm, isn't that simple of just changing the cast iron cover out? I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's all it is. It's a kind of a question of, you know, where did the drain covers go and where did the sewer covers go?
And me honestly, if you've got sewer covers in phase 2, go steal them and put them on here and be done with it.
Yeah, well,
You didn't notice the truck over there on Central Tree Estates
No, I didn't.
swapping covers?
Yeah.
As long as they're not in RDIC borrowing covers, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, 32, 33, 34 resolved. 35, that's just kind of a repeat. Snow is gone.
37, I'm struggling with. I don't remember seeing that before.
It's resolved.
Oh, I didn't see that. I'm sorry.
Do you mean like a fire station box? Like those type of telephone box?
No, I
Yeah,
think
like
you're
the-
talking about
The big green ones.
the green ones.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So Norm, I think we got about 8 items that he's got to get fixed, which is about 20% of all the points. So there's not a lot, but there's still work to be done.
Yeah.
And he's running out of time because the warrant opens up either next Monday, Tuesday, or
It's open now.
It was
Oh,
opened
I get
it
yesterday.
now.
it closes on April 2nd. Is that correct?
I believe
Yes.
so.
Yes.
It ain't gonna happen. There's no way. We don't
Oh,
have a
yeah?
meeting
What are
before
you
that.
talking about, Tim?
It's not gonna happen. We don't have a meeting before this.
Well, why don't you, what's wrong with what you've got in front of you?
The item's not done.
What's not done?
They're right there in the report.
What is not done?
Oh, did any of these get done after the date on the report?
Everything is pretty much resolved. What do you got left? You got the there's a solution to the pump station issue. And we found all the bounds. Mike Maroney's going to forward the reports. You're done.
Yeah, but I don't have that in front of me, Clee.
Yeah, but that shouldn't hold up a recommendation.
I'm
at this
a
level-
dot the I's and cross the T guy.
Yeah,
Norm.
but listen, at this level, you can't. It's not going to be perfect. Perfect. I've been working on this thing nonstop, and everything has been solved. It's not like things can't get resolved. I mean, at the same level, they have to. The select board has to hold a meeting, and until you guys say that it's okay to hold the meeting, they won't hold the meeting. So I mean, all we're saying is, hey, you're going to recommend it so that they can hold the meeting. Basically,
I will shut up and let my other 4 members speak.
No, not until I get my what I had asked for before.
well, I don't know what that was, Dick.
I want copies of all permits for your water and sewer from Maple Ave all the way down.
Copies of permits. What do you mean, like for the individual houses or the sewer extension?
For a sewer permit from MassDOT, from DCR.
DOT doesn't give you a sewer permit. DCI doesn't give you a sewer permit.
Well, how did you get across their property?
No. The town has to apply for that, and the town receive that.
That's what I'm asking for.
Yeah, but I don't have it. The town does. That Gary did that way back.
Well, I asked Gary way back, and he never gave it to me, so I made a written consent, and then I was told to give it to the DPW and through the planning board, which we did several months ago, and we're still waiting.
Yeah, but that's not my fault. I don't have it. I have the sewer extension permit, and what happens when you work in a town street, they have to apply. I can't apply to the DOT. The town has to. So Gary applied, and they gave him the permit. Right now, no matter what, after I buried those pipes in the ground, They belong to the town. They don't ever belong. They don't belong to me. People have already tied into them with their pumps. You know, different people along Main Street have tied into that force main.
Hmm.
Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, I know that, but
Oh, you did? I
Sheila,
didn't.
I asked Sheila Gibbs for copies of it too, and never got them.
Sheila wouldn't have them. The only one who would have them would have been Gary. Gary would have applied.
Who's Gary's boss?
Who's Gary's boss? It would be the town administrator.
Not at that time.
Yeah.
No, it was
It
before
was Margaret. Margaret would have.
Margaret.
Yeah. she was in-
Margaret wasn't there when I asked.
Oh, well, then it would have been the chairman of the board of selectmen.
Correct.
Okay.
Anyhow.
If I may chime in, Dick, if this is something that he doesn't, if it's not up to Mr. Blair to have him come in and provide it, then I don't think that it should be contingent upon him. That's something, you know, that's through us and I guess would be Joe now to provide that. But I don't think, you know, since Clee says that it's not his job to acquire it, I mean, holding him up to make him produce something that's not really that he has to produce, I don't agree with. I do agree though, if he can all the issues, these 8 bullets that if he can produce something that says that they're resolved by the time that the select board and he meets with the select board, I'm okay with it. As long as he can, you know, or yeah, if he says that they're resolved. Gotta see that resolved on it. Even if it says resolved to the extent of blah blah blah. As long as he covers his butt, I'm okay on letting him do it.
It's just a recommendation from the planning board that says that you recommend that the streets be accepted. If you don't do that, then they won't have a public hearing. They have to. I mean, and if they don't put it on the warrant, there's no reason to hold it up. I mean, it's not like the work isn't done. The bond is almost to zero. I mean, the biggest part of the bond is the holdback. It's not. I mean, the work is done. Everything's done according to what they want. You know, we fixed all the plans. We took care of everything. I mean, I've been working on this thing like a dog.
Norm, man, I'm putting my neck out here. I would put it contingent, a recommendation on Carl giving us an email to you and Dave and then distribute to the board that all items are resolved. I don't know what the rest of the board thinks about that.
Let me ask this, okay? And this is done a lot, and you know, Sheila never went along with it, but it is done a lot, and in other towns, the planning board has to recommend this at the town meeting too. If it's not to your satisfaction by then, you just don't bring it up. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, it's happened to me hundreds of times in different towns. It's just that it's not like it, you know, it's in the fall. I agree. I mean, we weren't close enough to get it put on the warrant. It's my fault. I mean, I just didn't get the work done in time. And when Ron, the town administrator, called me that time and he said, listen, I just don't have time to get it on. There's not enough done. And you know, we can't get it on for the fall town meeting. He said, but you know, I want to tell you that as long as this work is completed, that we'll get you through the to the town meeting. Now, if you guys feel at the town meeting that it's not satisfactory, I mean, I guess that then I would say that, but just to hang your hat on the fact that this isn't resolved, or that I've got issues with, you know, if Mike Maroney, I didn't know that I needed a structural engineer for those. I thought we only needed to say that the town it was built to DOT specs. And I did provide those letters when we built it. So that was kind of new to me. I didn't disagree, but I said, well, okay. And I called Mike, and he said he would go out and he would review them and he would do it. And he went out. He reviewed them. I knew he was there, so I know they're forthcoming. And I'll call him tomorrow and get them. As far as the pump station, I'm working with the homeowner. I did meet with them once. They didn't really want what I had recommended, so we're trying to work something out. But Joe told us that if you can't work anything out, he said just cut off the part of the driveway that's on their land and it goes away, which I'll do. But they were very nice, and I think that eventually we'll be able to work something out. But I mean, it's not like you're not holding money. You're still holding 800 grand. It's enough to get the driveway cut off. You know what I'm saying? I don't think holding up acceptance on phase one is prudent. I mean, there's just not enough hanging out there to leave it.
Rest of the board have any interest in asking Clea about the relatively short number of things that are allowed?
How about those sewer and drain issues on the manhole covers?
That's just the cover itself, Sean.
Yeah.
That what that is there's a few manhole covers that are off the side of the road, and that is those just need to be switched with drain man. I mean, what it says sewer manhole, and it should say drain. I mean, it's still covered. It's just that we got to put the wrong covers were put on there. You know what I mean? And we missed those. We got the ones that were in the street, but those were off the road, and that's why we missed them. But that's a 2-second job. I mean, that's
Yeah.
I mean, it isn't anything that's going to cost the town any money if it doesn't get done in 2 seconds. But I can have my guy take care of that tomorrow if he hasn't already. He may have, but Tommy might have done that, but I don't know.
I guess Clee has the bounds issue been squared away, because that seems to be the big one.
The bound issue is we found the bounds that Kyle was talking about. The problem is that the spikes are paved over. So, do you put in? You can't put a new spike because the spike's already there. The ones that he's talking about the spikes are in a driveway or in driveways. So the problem is that I can't drive another spike in there, and it's buried under the pavement. So, because when the people
metal detector, buddy, get a metal detector and then mark it with paint.
But that's not going to. It's not going to solve the problem for the future. We can mark it, Tim, but you got to see it. So the only way that you can see it is if I tear up the guy's driveway. I mean, there's bounds all over the place. Why does that one bound? I mean, it's definitely there. If a guy wanted to come out there with a what do you call it? Metal detector, he could find it. I'll find it with a metal detector. But do you really want me to tear up a driveway because I can't drive another spike in the middle of it to show it at the top because there's already a spike there. So what do you do? It's 1 or 2 bounds. There's thousands. There's 100 bounds all over the place. I mean, if you're out there doing a survey, engineering, you just go to a different bound and back up to that one. That's all.
I guess I need to, Dave and the board. I'm just curious of what they're. I mean, I agree, Clee. These are just little bits and pieces, but we had verified last time, not just with you, but anybody, that it's got to all be resolved before
But that's something that I can't resolve. Those are spikes.
Are you saying that Kyle Holcren would not be satisfied with going out there with a metal detector and locating where those buried bounds are?
Oh, I think he might be. I'm happy to do that, but it's you can't see them.
Then that's what should be done.
Well,
I'm
happy. I had to wait for the snow to melt on some of them. The snow just melted last week. We went out. We verified that the bounds were there. The only ones we couldn't verify was spikes. I'll take Carl out there tomorrow, and if he can come, and I'll show him where the bounds are. Everything's been put in. It's just, and everything was verified prior. So those are spikes, and we can, we can paint them, and we can show them at the metal where they are, but they're definitely in.
I mean, Norm, I'm okay with moving forward. I gotta have. I don't want anything. I don't want to get to the town meeting and we've got a couple of these. The report hasn't come in. We don't have it in our hands.
I'll give it to you. I'll tell you this: if Carl can get to it, I'll have everything squared away before the end of the week. As far as getting the bounds, I'll paint where they are. I'll get those letters from Mike Maroney, and what else was there that was that driveway? I mean, I don't know about the driveway. I mean, and if that doesn't happen tomorrow, it's been like that since for 3 or 4 years now. If that doesn't happen tomorrow, I'd like to try to work something out with the homeowner. I got to get back to them with a price on a fence right now. They're looking for a fence, and just a couple of things. So that's something that there's a resolution that I can fix. And if you have to just leave a little bit of money, there's still 13 grand on there. It's going to cost about $500 to cut that driveway off.
So I think, and Norm, tell me if I'm wrong, and Dave too. If we got a letter from Joe saying, "Listen, we have a final solution if negotiations break down, that I will accept the driveway being cut off." I think it's resolved. Am I wrong, board? Dave?
I'm happy to do that. I'll call Joe in the morning.
I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just asking the board, what do they think?
No, I will. But I mean, the amount of stuff on here that needs to be resolved is minuscule. I mean, when we went to the select board meeting at Bear Hill, there was a mountain of stuff that needed to be done.
99, I remember them well.
This is nothing. I mean, there's like a couple issues that are just hard to resolve. You know what I mean? It's just something that everybody's got to kind of get together and agree on.
I guess if we can get a letter from Joe Buckley, I'd buy that number
Okay.
18.
And we'll show Kyle where the bounds are.
Clee, I count 9 of them. Maybe you guys.
We found all the concrete bounds that they were under the snow. The only ones that we found them were spikes. Spikes are in, but we couldn't put new ones in because the spikes were already there. So there's nothing you could do about it. If I bring them out there and just show them with the metal detector where those spikes are, then I think that should, like you say, that should probably resolve it.
And I would, just to cover yourself, I'd put a CL mark, the center line mark on it and be done with it. And then it's there. You've done your job.
I know, but I mean, it's still, the purpose of the bounds is so that surveyors in the future can tie in. And the town sometimes needs to tie into them. So, they'd have to go to another bound because that paint's going to last about what? A year, maybe?
Well, I just thought about this. I'm curious. What's a bound doing in the middle of the driveway? Wouldn't it be on the edge of the driveway?
It happens all the time.
Okay.
I've had people rip them out. People just tear them out, and then they throw them away. I mean, it's awful, But they don't want those things. Sometimes we used to, we dig them and we just try to set them at the top of the driveway, and people get really upset. So Kyle let us put in spikes,
Well, I'll leave it up to the rest of the board, but that's my opinion.
And just to clarify, Tim, restate it?
I'm okay if we can get, in writing from Joe Buckley and from Carl that these are resolved by the end of the week, to give the select board for their Monday meeting a recommendation to move forward. I mean,
well, you have to do that tonight, but I'll get you those. I'll get you those things.
Yeah, I'm saying we can make the recommendation to move forward contingent on getting the 8 items resolved, either by letters or by documentation by the end of the week. I mean, I want to get this done and blessed, so it's not hanging out to the town meeting, because then we're put on the spot. And I've been through that way too many times.
No, that was Sheila did that to you, not me.
No, I'm not, be clear, I'm not putting blame on anybody.
No,
I'm
I
just
know,
saying the board.
I was actually just joking with you.
Okay, that's okay.
She
You say it and I get defensive. I apologize.
did.
I don't know. That's my opinion. I'll let the rest of the board chime in.
Dave, is that something that we could do?
Well, Tim, I would say just make a motion of that.
Well, I like a straw vote before I put my head on the chopping block.
I agree with you, Tim. I agree wholeheartedly to do that. So there's my straw.
Do we?
I'm just trying to think in my mind of some way of, I guess I'll say, sort of getting our cake and eating it too. I'm wondering if it would make any difference if we were to take a vote and send to selectmen our recommendation that the acceptance of phase one be placed on the warrant and that a final recommendation will be made on the floor of town meeting.
I'm good with that.
But Norm, I want to remind you too that the select board has to hold a public hearing for this, so you'll have an opportunity there as well.
If we're recommending they put it on the warrant, then that signals them to hold a public hearing.
That's the only way they can have their public hearing, is if you recommend it. Once you recommend it, they have a public hearing. You're gonna have to stand, they're gonna ask you at the public hearing, do you recommend it? So, even then, you have an opportunity to speak. And so, by then, or especially by town meeting, a lot of times, like I said, towns just take it off. They won't even bring it up to vote. So, and that, I can tell you that's not gonna happen here. I'll have these things squared away. And I'll ask Joe to give me, maybe if Joe just gives Dave a call and said, look, I did say that, but however we want to work it out, but.
Actually, I would prefer that
you
you
shoot it down.
Quantifies it in a memo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in writing.
Yeah, I'm good too with that. Norm, I'm fine with that then. I mean, I'll make a motion.
Pardon me, I would just ask the chair if you'd like to see if the audience has any questions or comments. There is a hand raised by an entity known as iPhone. I don't know who that is or what their business is.
Okay.
Okay, is there anyone else out there?
It's just Sean Mead from 73 Woodside. I just had one question. How many total road feet are being accepted through phase one?
I don't know the answer.
Hold on a second. I got it. It goes to station. I saw that. Yeah, Dave, it's in the packet. Goes down and shows the station where it stops.
The thing is, the station markers go backwards. That's why it's confusing. They start high and go low. And it's all of Sedona. Hold on, Dave, back up. Hold on, right there. What's that? See where it says lot 41R? Doesn't it stop right there?
So is that 745 VC? What's VC mean? Is that
Where are you?
right there? Oh, go back down, Dave. See where it says 745? Is that feet?
I can't. I can't read it. I can't. My computer screen is too small.
I don't have anything.
No. That's the to do with the profiles, Tim. That's not
Okay.
stations.
I was hoping that was going to be 745 feet of street, but it isn't. So does it go to the 44 where that dotted line was?
I believe it goes to lot 41. I'm pretty sure. That's why I say if the station markers are in the street, if you can blow that up a little bit, I could give it to you.
All right, so tell me, why is it the banking for that detention? Oh, go back up the other way. Whoa, right there. The detention of the pond. Why is the pump station between two houses when it's the pump station is on lot 67R, I thought.
No, if you remember during the approval process, Norm made us
Move it.
give the
Yeah.
pump station its own piece of land. It's not an easement, it's actually its own piece of land.
And that, see, Dick, see that dotted line going through the driveway next to the pump station? That would be the concern right now.
And that's the edge of the easement for the
But,
drainage.
but I don't remember seeing was there another house beyond there?
Well, no, it stops, I believe it stops at lot 41, right there. I believe lot 41 is just above where it goes. So if there's a station, so is that station 39 right there, plus 00, right? And then 38 plus 00?
No, I think it's 37 is what that one is, just beyond lot 41 going up to 42.
So it probably goes, that's probably
Right
where,
there. That's right there. I believe that's what Norm says. The sidewalk stopped or changed or something like that.
And that's
I think that
station
was end of
37.
phase 1.
so 37, if we go back to the front now, we'd probably be able to, because it goes the other way. Keep going. I can't see it.
That's 46.
All the way at the end, so that's 1,100
Actually,
feet.
if I could, I do have the Quinn report up here on his report. The road as-built, Brice Estates, Phase 1, located on Woodside Ave, Station 35 plus 50 to Station 50.24 plus 12, and Sedona Circle, Station 0 to Station 5 plus 74.03.
So
So is that
35 minus 50 is, you got what, 2,500? Am I doing that right?
No, it's
1,500.
1,500 feet.
So it's 1,500, a little over 1,500 feet of road down on Woodside, and then all of Sedona, to answer
Which
your
is about
question.
5.
So
Yeah.
with that question being answered at 1,500 feet, isn't that accepting a dead end road over 1,000 feet?
No, you can, well, the law, as far as planning is concerned, says the town can take it in phases.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, I'm asking for phase 1 to be taken now, because it's complete. And I think that's the preferred method. The way we did it on Bear Hill, wait until the end, was a nightmare. It was just a nightmare.
So as long as a road is designed to go completely through, we take it in as phases. So it's not a dead end road. We're just basically only accepting 1,500 feet of this phase 1, and then phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. And I think there's a phase 5 too, which is a cul-de-sac, if I remember right.
Phase 2 is straight up.
And I know this was brought up at a previous meeting, and I think it was by you, Tim, that accepting a road over 1,000 feet poses a public safety risk, locking in 80 some odd houses if something was to happen, with no exit out, being that the bridge connecting or structure connecting phase 2 and phase 3 isn't there now. I know it was brought up previously by other officials in town as well.
It's not supposed to be there yet, though.
That's a question. Yeah, I guess I can't. I definitely, we brought this up before on, what's that subdivision over in off of 68 where it was built in phases too?
Michael Drive?
No, Moose Crossing.
Moose Crossing, thanks. Yeah.
If you built that whole road, it would open up so much real estate to do it. It would cause massive erosion issues. You can't do it.
I guess, Norm, the contingency we've got on it not being completed, not saying it won't, but we've got bonding on this subdivision, correct?
Well, yes, but not necessarily enough to complete the road through.
Oh. I don't have an answer then. I know we've done phased acceptance because to Clee's point, we just don't want to do one big road because we end up with the mess that we had at Bear Hill, and I'm not going through that one again either.
It's been standard practice.
Yeah. It's
You
it's
know, we
It's
won't
not
approve a
creating
road that's designed to be over 500 feet in dead end.
correct.
Part of a larger subdivision, yes.
So we're accepting a piece of a road that's going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Have a second egress, but we're not forcing the developer to put the whole road in, putting it in phases so we can control erosion and control build of the road, I guess is what the planning board has tried to do, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Oh, I don't know if that answers your question, but
Not really. I just know it's part of the bylaws. I understand it's designed that way, but it could be 4 years before there's an egress out of here. And if, God forbid, something was to happen similar to an ice storm, we have no other way out of here.
But that situation exists no matter what, whether they take the road or they don't.
Yeah, it's understandable, but it puts the town in the responsibility onto the town, I should say.
What they require is that there's a turnaround. So at the end of phase 2, there's a cul-de-sac. So the fire trucks can come in or the ambulances come in, they can turn around and they can get out. When you
That's understandable, but there's half a dozen pieces of construction equipment, piles of gravel, rock, pipe, building materials in that cul-de-sac.
Yeah, but
being a firefighter, there's no physical way to turn a vehicle around in that cul-de-sac.
You can pull in and back up. You don't have to go up to the cul-de-sac. The point is that there's a turnaround at the end of it. And that's what the planning board requires, that we put a turnaround at the end. And when we finished phase 1 and we went on to phase 2, they required a turnaround at the end of phase 1. But now it's all the way up to the end of phase 2. I'm building hopefully phase 4, and by the way, probably be by the beginning of next year. Phase 4 connects everything. So, probably another, I don't know, year from now, it'll all be connected anyway. But you can't build it any different. If you tried to build it all the way through, it would just create massive amounts of erosion issues. You just can't. Nobody will let you open up that much acreage. It just isn't done. The way we're doing it is the way that is standard operating practice.
I've walked the connection point from the end of phase 2 to what would be phase 4. There's probably about 75 yards of wooded area that's not cleared connecting the two. Everything beyond that is clear, open dirt, mounds of soil that's been moved from phase 3 up into phase 4 for storage.
We just got the approval to cut phase 4, and our tree cutter just moved in up there. Did you see him? He's working up there now. So we're cutting it now, and then we're going to hopefully be able to start. But we have to get approval from the environmental people, the DEP, the DCR, the Army Corps. They were all up there about 3 weeks ago, and they went through the whole place, and they finally gave us approval to cut the trees. So we are cutting the trees in phase 4 now.
I just think from a public safety standpoint, I understand there's some sort of turnaround at the end, but in the bylaws, there's accepting a road over 1,000 feet, I think goes against that whole point from a public safety standpoint. And I know it was brought up from public safety officials.
Why don't you want the road accepted? Why do you want me? What difference does it make if the road gets accepted?
I'm saying that I know it's been brought up and it was kind of brushed over and not fully addressed previously.
But the point is that it's addressed. I mean, it's the way it's done. I mean, I'm not trying to, make it any more difficult for anybody, but that's the way you do it. You get to the end of the phase, you build it in phases, and you finish it in phases, and that way it gets completed that way faster. And then would you want me to leave it and not put the top coat on and leave all the thing like it was before? It would look awful. So if you're going to do all that work, then at that point the town accepts it. It's just an acceptance of the road. That's what they do. I mean, that's what you ask for, and it's done everywhere, all over the place, all the time.
Okay. I have to say that all over again because I was on mute. Are you looking up that bylaw norm for the 1,000 feet? And it's Sean, right? I mean,
Yeah, I am.
Sure,
I
that's
am
your name.
looking because
so you're saying that the town's in violation of our own bylaw?
No. I remember going over this a while back. I agree that it was 1,000 feet, but that was the designed road, not the finished road. We would never allow a 1,000-foot road to dead end in town. If the road was designed to go through over 1,000, I apologize. Yeah, over 1,000. Thanks, Cleve. Anything over 1,000, we would not allow that design to be accepted in town. But we have accepted lately Noble Hill, other ones in phases that the individual phases would be over 1,000 feet because the ultimate entire subdivision had two egresses. I mean, Norm, that maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I remember the discussions always going.
I'm just looking for the specific language for the length
It's
of
section
dead
6,
end.
part B.
Once again,
Section 6, part B of the subdivision are the
section 6.
design standards.
Okay, there it is. It's under design standards. In other words, what that is saying is that we would not accept a design that depicts a 1,000-foot dead end, greater than 1,000-foot dead end road.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the process of building it.
Because I remember, Norm, over at Moose Crossing, they initially had this little road that went out on the side to get their second egress, and we said,
Right.
No. Make a double barrel. That way we can get emergency vehicles in and out of Moose Crossing.
Right.
And that was acceptable for the design. So anyhow, roads. Better make sure.
It's a design standard, not an acceptance standard.
Well, I'm looking over our acceptance clear right now. I'm reading through it to make sure that I don't miss anything.
I still honestly have not found.
Now, the bylaw does have a provision that where a subdivision plan provides for more than 1,000 feet of roadways, a phasing plan shall be required, as is the case for the subdivision.
Thanks, Dave. That's the broad brush right there.
Yeah, right there.
Where's that? What section is that under?
Page 30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me see where that is. Page 30.
L.
It's under administration.
Damn it, I don't have
section
that.
8.
It's in section L. Capital L.
Under subdivision regs?
Yep.
Oh, section L.
At least on my copy, it is also on page 30.
Okay. What's the title of the section?
Title of the section is location of rights of way.
Okay, thanks. Let me find that. Public location rights of way, street signs. Damn it.
You found it?
No, I'm not having any success. I'm on the website, unfortunately. That's the only thing I got, and it's got section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and none of it has right of way. And when you're and of course the pages aren't numbered either, Norm.
Oh, well,
Can you tell me what's in front of the right of way? Is there another section in front of it, like easements, open space?
well, first of all, it is section Roman numeral 6,
Oh, thank you. That gets me in the ballpark.
design standards,
Yep.
and then you go to subsection L.
Okay. That's not good.
And it is subsection 4.
Oh boy. Well, and that's subdivision regulations, correct?
Yep.
Well, we need to get our subdivision regulations on the website updated because section 6 only has J as the last section, called earth removal. So
J,
yep, I'm looking. If you go,
I would say you need to, because J is cleanup according to this version that I have.
because I'm under boards and commissions, planning board, and then subdivision regulations, table of content, 1 authority, 2 definitions, 3 plans not required, approval under subdivision control law, 4 is preliminary, 5 is definitive, 6 is design standards, and that's the one you told me to go to.
Yep.
And it has A through J, being A is general, B is street, C is sidewalk, bikeways, walking paths, D is public water, sewer, underground utilities, E is stormwater management, F is protection of local water supply, G is easements.
No.
Yeah, that's what worries me.
Does it show an acceptance date or an adoption date?
Let me see if I got anything here. Detailed plates, maybe that has something. Nope. Let me go to the top, purpose preamble. No, believe it or not, Norm, it doesn't show anything.
Mhm.
That's not good. But let me go to zoning bylaws. That
What are you trying to find?
I just want to see this section that Dave. Well, actually, hey, can somebody put it up on the screen and I'll buy that, because I'm frustrated right now.
I'm not even allowed to do phase 4 yet until I get phase 3 close. I can't even connect the 2 streets, according to the conditions of approval. There's nothing I can do.
This is, I can, it's on page 30. You don't have access to page 30 in there?
No, it doesn't give pages. All it gives, Dave, when you go to the website and you go to Rutland.
Okay, it's before slopes, right before slopes, 20%, 20% slopes. It's the section right before that.
I'm just gonna go to streets and see what I see.
Are we talking about phase 4? Or are we still on accepting this road?
We're talking about the
phasing.
1,000 feet of roadways, a phasing plan.
Okay.
Oh my.
Yeah, I've got dead end streets, but we don't do dead end streets. This isn't.
It's right before section 7 improvements.
Yeah,
It's like at the very end of section 6.
I know, and the problem is, Dave, the website design standard ends at J, earth removal, in section 6. So and I apologize. I don't have the other one on this computer. I just got a new computer. I'm trying.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Dave,
I'm going to step aside for a minute.
Okay.
Dave, can you put that up on your screen by any chance? Do you have the ability to do that?
I don't have immediate access to a hard copy that's not on the web, to an electronic copy that's not on the website.
Yeah.
I'm lost. What are we trying to find?
We're trying to find
We're
the
trying to
section
prove
that provides for what happens when a roadway is more than 1,000 feet.
Well, this roadway is only a part of a roadway.
Yeah, and that's what section of the in section 6 Cleve, subsection L says, but I don't have it, and that's and I'm a Missouri guy. You got to show me. So I believe it. I just want to because the one on the web, unfortunately, the one that the town has right now doesn't show that. So that we'll have to get that fixed with Anita, because it looks like there's an older revision of the subdivision bylaws.
But Dave told you what it said.
No, I'm just a show me guy. I'm sorry.
Well,
Dave?
An engineer.
Yes, Norm.
Dave, you have a printed copy of the subdivision in front of you?
I do, yeah.
Okay, what is the adoption date of your copy?
This is adopted 10/12/10.
Okay, it's the same thing that I've got.
So if you have it as well,
All right.
if you could recite it to the board, that might be helpful as well.
Okay, here's what it says word for word. Where a subdivision plan provides for more than 1,000 feet of roadways, a phasing plan shall be required. The phasing plan shall show the intended construction schedule for the roadways. No more than 1 acre of disturbed soils for roadway construction and lot development shall be permitted during any one phase without stabilization. No new subdivision phase will be opened up until construction until the roadway construction as part of the earlier phase is complete through binder course with roadway grading stabilized and utilities installed.
And Norm, I know where that came from. I remember this verbiage because of a certain little place off of Palmagussit.
Down near you?
Yeah. So I'm okay with that. I don't know. I mean, I'm okay with moving forward with this based upon section L that we're following our subdivision regs.
Mhm. Yeah. But I mean, it was, all I can say is for as long as I've been on the board, the intent was not to deny acceptance of phases of roadways. It was to not allow a road to be designed to be a dead end longer than 1,000 feet.
And yeah, and I agree because that's in it's subsection 8 where it says dead end streets shall be no longer than 1,000 feet on center line from the center line of the intersection through the street to the end of the turnaround or measuring point as defined herein. So we've got that in our subdivisions.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm okay, me personally. I just
Same.
the one thing from what was brought up is I'd probably ask Seth to give me a thumbs up and Chief Monaco and maybe even Joe that we've got adequate turnaround for phase 1. You know, I don't know. Is
We're
that
talking about the cul-de-sac, though, right? I mean, his concern is going to across the bridge into the cul-de-sac, right? On which side? I hope I'm not lost right now.
I thought it was
Awesome. It's been taking so long.
I know.
Okay.
I thought it was the total length of the road. I didn't think this cul-de-sac was in the discussion point.
Because a cul-de-sac's not listed as a dead-end street.
No.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Well, it is, but it's under 1,000 feet.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing is, the end of phase 2, Woodside Ave extends beyond the entrance to that cul-de-sac. So in effect, there is what is called a sufficient hammerhead turnaround.
Okay.
End of phase 2. They do not have to enter the cul-de-sac.
They just turn around in the front side.
That's right.
Okay. All right. I'm satisfied.
Okay. Okay. Before we try to get back to this whole thing, is there anyone else out there from the public that would like to speak on this?
Yep, my name is George Triantaflocus. I live in phase 2 actually. I have a question on the drainage easement. I know you guys took a walk on the drainage easement, and we discussed once the warmer weather, once it gets warmer, that you guys will provide a plan and start, fixing it. Do you guys have, or Clee, do you have a plan in place or plans on how you're going to fix it?
Yes, and what we said was when the snow cleared, we'd show you guys, but we already have a plan. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna cut most of that water off and bring it down to the house, towards the house we're building now at the end of the cul-de-sac, lot 35. So we're gonna cut a lot of the water that's already coming down there off. And then, I mean, I don't want to take up the planning board's time, but George, I'm happy to meet you down there anytime now. I mean, the weather's getting nice and it's easy to walk up and back. I don't even think it's too muddy back there. And
Yeah.
I can show you what I'm talking about.
Honestly, I mean, bring your boots because it's real muddy.
Well,
I mean,
then
it's like
if
quicksand.
you don't mind, I'm not gonna be able to work up there anyway. Let's let it get a little bit drier and harder, and I'll show you what we're gonna do. We can't do any work if it's muddy anyway. So, like I said, I'm determined to fix that, and I'm gonna fix it. So, I need the weather to get a little bit better.
Are you able to provide us with like the plans that you have? Is that something you can provide us?
I didn't draw a plan, George. I just have it in my head. I know what to do.
Is that something you can email us in writing or something? Because we want something in writing. We want to know what you're going to be doing, because we want to make sure it's feasible.
Yeah,
George, if I may, through the chair, George, that could be okay that Cleve provides you something like that, but it's really up to us to make sure that he does it.
Oh, I disagree.
No, that's on lots, Sean.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's work on lots. It's not to do with the subdivision.
Okay. You know, my bad, then, George.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
George, I think I already provided you with one of those emails, but I'll take a look.
Okay. Yeah, if you can send that, yeah, I appreciate that.
I can tell you. I'll email it to you what my plan is. I have no problem with that.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Norm, do you want me to go back to my motion to?
Do you remember it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I thought I made yeah. I thought I made a motion to send the phase 1 road acceptance to the select board for a public hearing, or let me rephrase that. The planning board, what's the word I'm looking for? Not agrees.
Recommends?
Recommends.
Thanks, everybody. That's what happens when it gets late. Almost 9 o'clock. Recommends that the phase 1 be accepted. And my question to the board is, should I condition this on 8 items being finished by town meeting, or do you want it sooner?
Say by the selectmen's hearing. How's that?
I'm fine with that. By the
Kind of in the
selectmen's.
middle. How's that?
How's that with the board? Everybody okay with that?
I'll second that motion, so I'm fine with it.
Just the 8 items, right?
8 items. Yep, as listed on Carl's March 17th report.
And, okay, we have a motion and a second, so discussion. And Clea, I hope you got a pen or pencil, Happy.
I do not. Let me go get one. Hold on.
Norm, are you going to give me a friendly amendment?
No, I am just in terms of discussion, I am just going to run down the numbers.
Oh, okay, good.
So the Clea is not going to have any say, oh, I didn't know about that. You know.
Should we also have David talk to Carl tomorrow to give him a heads up that we need to see if we can make sure we get time scheduled for him to get together with Clea and get this done?
You mean the bounds?
Yep.
Okay, Norm, I got it.
Okay. The 8 items are in the Brice Lemon Quinn Engineering Report of March 27th, 2021.
Oh, I apologize. That was 17th.
Item number 5, 6, 18, 20, 31, and 35.
And you said that you'd accept a letter from Joe saying I could cut it on number 20 or 18, whichever one that one was.
I'm okay with that, Cleve.
Yeah, I guess I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Norm, if I may, just for a clarification, that was only 6 items, but the motion referenced 8.
Okay, what am I missing here?
I'm circled on mine, so.
Got 31. Did you get 31, Norm?
Yep.
And 35.
Yep.
31, 35.
It's between
Okay.
5, 6, and
And then
18,
there
Norm.
was-
It's got to be.
Okay.
Number 20, 18, yeah.
The only one that I didn't mention is number 15, because that is a clarification we need from Carl Hultgren.
Oh,
So it's
how it was done.
5. There's 2.
39, Norm.
39.
And 41.
Yeah, there's 8. Yeah, 39 and 41 are the last
Yeah.
two.
39 and
Yeah,
41.
That's just on the as-built plans. That's on the plan. That's not an actual physical thing he needs to have done on me.
Yeah, but it says it's not depicted correctly.
Yeah.
We want everything done.
He still has to turn in the as-built plans, right?
No, we did, but we have to fix that, Sean. We have to fix that.
Okay.
Yeah, but the as-built plan should be part of the hearing.
And Norm, can I also just confirm whether the date of the report was the 17th or the 27th?
March 17th.
Okay, thank you.
You did say 27, Norm.
Did I?
Yeah.
It's
I was
getting
trying to
late.
think, where did the time go?
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize that hasn't happened yet. It is getting late, I guess.
I'm beginning to think we're already in 2022.
I know.
God, that would be nice.
I'd already be vested in my 401k. I'd be excited.
Hey, I'm just glad the weather's getting better.
Me too.
What do we got left?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Then roll call vote. Dick.
No.
Marilyn.
Aye.
Sean.
I
Tim.
Aye.
Norm. Aye. 4-1. The motion carries.
Thank you.
And I have now lost track of everything.
we're on 9.
Yep. Next.
Okay. I can't even find page 3. Of my agenda.
It's the revision to subdivision regulations, roadway cross section, and other topics.
Okay.
So I'm gonna bail, guys. Thank you very much.
Actually, would you just maybe stay off of the zoning item, which is right after this one? And there is-
Yeah, because Tim's gonna be a pain in the ass.
Carla's not finished with that, so there's nothing for item 9.
Okay.
Item 10, I understand there's a change to the zoning request.
So are we on item 10? Is that what, I didn't quite hear you, David.
Should be on item 10 because there was nothing for item 9. Carl didn't have a chance to get to that request yet.
I don't believe.
We don't have anything in our packet for it, but
Or which one, Tim? 10 or 9?
number 10.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. The roadway cross section, I don't believe we received anything from Kyle Holgren yet.
Exactly right. We don't have anything back from Quinn on that item. Yep.
So, proposed zoning changes, Rutland Plaza. Where are you at with that at this point, Clay?
So what I would like to do is amend my request. Before I was looking for a zoning map change to change the industrial zone that it's in right now to business. what I'm asking for is to ask that business be allowed in industrial zones. Business uses be allowed in industrial zones. That's it. So basically, it's just rewording the language. By the way, that's the way it used to be, but they changed it. I don't know how we changed it or when we changed it, but we did. And, you know, all my stuff down there is industrial. So, you know, you can't have a restaurant, you can't have this, you can't have that. But I prefer to leave it as both.
Yeah, see, and that, again, through Norm, that's, I guess this is my opinion. I want one zone that we have in town now. TC2, I'm fine with. Business, I'm fine with. But I just don't want two zoned areas in the same, occupying the same space. Maybe that's the best way to say it. That's my
It's not
opinion.
spot zoning though, Tim. It's the whole industrial zones, everywhere in the industrial zone in the whole town. Any place that there's an industrial zone, that you would allow whatever's allowed in the business zone there too. So, you know, what I'm saying is you can have anything that's allowed in industrial is mostly allowed in business as well, but there's a few that aren't, like restaurants.
Why don't we just get rid of industrial if there is no intent to use that and just turn it into a business or a TC2?
Because there's some things that are only allowed in industrial. Like, for example, marijuana grow. You can't grow marijuana in a business district. You can only grow it in an industrial district. But what does it hurt to grow marijuana in a business district? That's the point. The point is that, but you don't allow restaurants. But let me just say this: forever in a decade, the town always included business uses with industrial uses. In 2006, that got changed. I don't know how it got changed, but it did. That's a cleaner way than switching that over to business and or having to leave it industrial and then change the map. I mean, just if you look at what's allowed in business and what's allowed in industrial, there's only a couple of things that really are going to change. Restaurants, which I already have. And then, because they were there before, like Honeydew and Tula's and now KP's, which the zoning board allowed, but they wanted me to change the zoning so that it would be allowed always. Because I keep going to the zoning board, asking them for different things, they want to change it. So, like, for example, I have to build a pot store dispensary across the street for the retail pot guy. But if I want to rent to a grower, I can't rent to a grower. See what I mean? If I'm all business. So, but if you look at what the uses are with business and industrial, there's only a few that business allows that industrial doesn't, and industrial allows that business doesn't. And in those zones, what does it matter? So it's not spot zoning. It's changing zoning. It's changing the entire industrial zone to allow business in that zone, but with the uses in the business district in an industrial zone. That's what I'm asking.
Okay, kind of putting a little bit of background on this. Before we actually developed either the town center districts and all of those things, and the light industrial office and the light industrial zones, the way our zoning regulations read, they defined a residential zone, and they defined the uses allowed in a residential zone. Then they did kind of a cascade thing. You go up next to business zone. The first line in the business zone language was any use allowed in a residential zone. And then other things added. When you went up the next step to industrial, the first line was any uses allowed in a business zone, and then added additional ones. So this is kind of what Clee, I think, is looking to go back to.
Yeah, but that would be one zone in the entire town that would have that, because hasn't all the zoning changed, if I'm not mistaken?
No, it'll be in the bylaw. It would say all business uses, like Norm just said, allowed in industrial. So I'm not spot zoning it. I'm saying all the all I'm saying is change the language for anybody who has an industrial zone piece of land, business uses would be allowed in it.
You will be adding a single line to the industrial zone, saying any use permitted in the business zone.
I think that makes sense, and it also makes sense in
So-
the way that there's not a lot of industrial people looking to build in Rutland, so.
And I think there might have been at least thought, I can't remember all the details back when we did this, but I think that there might have been a thought that we did want to restrict industrial zoning so that it wouldn't be grabbed up by the other uses. I remember when we tried to come up with industrially zoned property, when we hunted, all over the town for what would be reasonable land to zone industrial, and there really wasn't a heck of a lot. So what I think we were saying back in that time was, yeah, let's make sure we reserve this for, strictly industrial use, hoping that we were going to find some major industries that are going to be interested in coming to Rutland. Well, guess what? They haven't. And
Well-
to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think they will.
Haven't we, Norm, talked about just eliminating the industrial zone completely from Rutland? Because this is 2020. There's no chance of that industry being revitalized in this part of the country. Hadn't we discussed that or talked about it at one point, and just maybe to Clee's point, making it business and then take some of the industrial portions out of it and just call it a business district at that area and the other industrial areas.
Yeah, but then you'd have to redefine all the uses. If you do it the way Norm says, as it's just adding one line that business uses are allowed in industrial zones. That way you don't have to go back and define all the uses all over again as to what a business district is.
Oh, good. Then we can bring adult entertainment into the business district.
Damn straight, baby.
I'll tell you, I think people would show up for that.
I just, and again, I'm not trying to slow the process down, but shouldn't we, and again, I know Bonnie's the only at-large member now for the bylaw subcommittee, but shouldn't we sit down and review this before we just make a decision here at the board? I mean,
well, this is a proposal that's going on the town meeting warrant.
how's that?
Am I right, Cleve?
Yes, please. So the planning board recommends.
What? Oh, time
Or not.
out. So in 2 meetings, we're going to recommend a bylaw. I'm not putting my name on that. No freaking way. No, not happening.
I mean,
Not happening.
that
Nope,
doesn't happen. Listen, that doesn't have to happen at this meeting. It doesn't. When I went to the ZBA to try to get KPs approved in the Sims building, they asked me, they actually made it part of the motion that I had to file to get that changed to business zone so that it would allow that area to be, but see what happens is everything that got changed somehow, that zone got changed to industrial back in 2006. I think I was even on the bylaw subcommittee when it happened. I don't remember it happening. So what I'm asking is to add that one line rather than change it to a business. I was going to change that entire zone to a business zone and then change the zoning map. But rather than do that, I'm just saying I'd like to make a change to the zoning language that says business zones. And I mean, it has to get voted at town meeting. You don't have to recommend it. You don't have to do it. If you want to wait till the fall meeting, we can wait till the fall meeting. But,
I just, Clea, I just think we have to have, and Norm, you can tell me if I'm wrong, we're gonna need public hearing on this, aren't we?
First of all, I'm assuming Clee is going to put this on the warrant as a citizen's petition.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so it's not something that the planning board is going to propose.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought we were gonna. Oh,
I don't know why it wouldn't make sense, though. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Just add a few more uses to an industrial zone.
Does George
Well,
got some, Clea, and Norm, you can tell me shut up whenever. Does George have something written up of what the verbiage what he wants for that? Because if I could see that and digest it, I'd probably be better off down the road.
Okay, I will.
I mean, Norm, what do you think?
David already asked me to have George draft that, and I am working on that as we speak.
I don't see why it needs to be any more than that one line that I simply
Right.
quoted.
I agree. That's what it's going to be.
Any use permitted in a business zone.
Now, with that business zone, well, that would include all business zones in town, like TC, Town
No,
Center,
it
and
would
Town Center
include
2,
all-
or?
It would include all industrial zones.
Oh, okay.
This is a
So would it
change to the
make-
industrial zone bylaw.
Okay.
So it would just say any use permitted in a business zone is now permitted in an industrial zone as well. It's that's exactly what that's all it would say.
Well, I would throw in there, if I may, through the chair, all business use unless otherwise zoned for. Because we do have, excuse me, like you were saying about the pot shops, that's Town Center 1, Town Center 2.
Right. I couldn't do that. I couldn't put those in those zones,
Yeah.
Sean. With that line, it would
Yeah,
have to
okay.
stay in. I would have to build that. I'm still going to have to build that building across the street.
But it allows you, Clea, to put a restaurant in an area that there are already restaurants, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically, you know, that zone right there is, you know, it got switched to industrial. Why, I don't know. I forgot. Like I said, I was probably part of the bylaw subcommittee at that time, but you know, it got done, and it's if we just add that one line to the industrial zone, all it does is enhance the industrial zones if somebody wants to put businesses in them. I mean, you know, there's quite a few of them.
We've got one more meeting right before, Norm, before the town meeting, or two meetings before the town meeting.
At least two.
Yeah, I'd say at least two.
Is there any way, Clea, you could light a fire under George or throw an expensive stogie at him and get this done before our next meeting, so I got time to just digest it? I'm not saying I don't disagree. I just want to read it and read the business use and make sure I'm comfortable, because I'm guessing and Norm, you could tell me wrong, since this is a zoning bylaw, the FICOM or the moderator or the select board is going to ask for our recommendation, correct?
Not if it's a citizen's petition,
It's a zoning bylaw, though.
but it still has to be, if he does a citizen's petition, it gets put on the warrant nonetheless. It's kind of like the issue that...
I get that, Sean. I mean, at town meeting, when they're voting on this, before they vote on it, typically they go around and ask for recommendations from the appropriate boards. So that's what I'm trying to find out. Is the planning board going to get asked at town meeting, do we recommend this?
I would say yes. It's a change in zoning bylaws. So regardless of whether it's by citizen's petition or whether it's sponsored by a committee, yes.
And Sean, that's the reason I'm asking, is I want to be comfortable with the board, and I presume we're going to have to vote on this to give recommendation. I just want to be comfortable. I'm not saying I disagree. I just want to read it, make sure I'm comfortable, and then we take a vote on this the next meeting or the meeting after, and then we're all set for the town meeting.
I'm good with that. I'll get that to you right away.
All right, great, thanks. Norm, is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Dave, what about you?
Yeah, I just wanted to just talk about the timeline for this. Generally speaking, it seems that other boards and commissions who are asked to make a recommendation seem to prefer that the planning board have its hearing first. So that being the case, the next available meeting will be the 13th of April. What I was hoping to do was to have a legal ad drafted for tomorrow to appear on the 29th of March and the 5th of April for the 13th with respect to 2 zoning changes, this being one of them. Would the board like to take this matter on the 13th, or would you like to take it on some other date? Keeping in mind that if you take it on a different date, the last meeting in April, and other boards and commissions may need to have special meetings to make a recommendation because of the order that it seems to want to occur.
It can't hurt to put it on, to advertise it. At least it's done. You know what I
If
mean?
I advertise it, I have to advertise for a date certain, and what I'd like
Yeah.
to do is advertise it for the 13th of April.
That would be fine. I'll have the stuff.
I'm sorry, I couldn't interrupt you, but
I'm sorry too.
and for Clee's benefit, it's not really needed a public hearing, just our
No,
recommendation.
it needs a public hearing. Any zoning change needs to have a public hearing before the planning board.
That's if we're putting it on the warrant, though, right?
No.
No, zoning changes need a public hearing by the planning board, irrespective of who places it.
Okay. Don't we have to receive those proposals from the select board?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get, Norm.
Well, the one is the special permit findings of fact. That's the planning board sponsored one. The previous
Yeah.
discussion on this matter, I seem to recall that there was an economic development interest here to allow for uses in zones because it served more of an economic development purpose than just one particular property. Having had that prior conversation, it was my understanding that the planning board was going to sponsor this because of the general importance of this.
I again, if it's through Norm, if it's a citizen's petition, I have no problem, reviewing it and throwing it. But if the planning board is going to put their name on it, then I think it's got to go through the procedure, which won't make this town meeting, which is go to the bylaw subcommittee, have it reviewed, and then come back to the planning board. We've said to multiple people in town, even for citizens petitions, that's the procedure. So I really don't want to go against our recommendation that we did at town meeting for other citizens petitions.
Here's the thing. It was originally going to be a petition by the planning board, but if you guys don't bring it, I'll bring it. The point is, I don't mind waiting till the fall town meeting, but we're talking about one line. It's not, I don't think it needs a ton of research. I think it could probably be done by April 13th. Why don't we try it? If we can't get it done, then we won't, you won't vote it. Like I said, I don't care if it waits till the next meeting, the next town meeting. I don't care. But I would prefer that, it got done because I did promise the zoning board that I would do it and I would bring it forward. And we did that. And we put it off last fall because it was too quick. We didn't have enough time to analyze it. Now it was going to come up in the spring. It was, the way I was doing it before with changing it to business, that was okay. This is maybe a little bit different, but it's going to give more opportunity to have commercial uses in town. It's better if it's in an industrial area anyway. What does it matter? See what I mean? I don't want to get into the meat of it. We could do that on the 13th, but can we at least try? If we can't get there and nobody's happy, then we don't do it. But if we don't try it, what the heck? We have a few weeks.
Yeah, and also just to jump in on the fall issue, the impression I get in this community is that zoning changes are a non-starter for the fall town meeting.
Dave's right.
So that being the case, if it's not this spring town meeting, it's next spring town meeting.
I prefer to do it this one. I thought we could wait to the fall, but you're right. It's not It is a non-starter in the fall. I don't know why, but it is.
Okay. So
Did
let
I
me
hear
get
Lou
this.
Canacchioli speaking?
I'm not sure, I gotta say, I'm not sure what the issue is, but if the town has a particular custom, then we're gonna try to respect that as staff, even though it doesn't seem to have a lot of sense behind it.
Okay, let me just get this clear for mine, because I'm really confused here. Even if he submits it as a citizen's petition, and we, the board, the planning board, they ask, does this get recommendation? Even if they say no, uh, even if he puts it through the town meeting, the townspeople can still vote to do the change.
Yes,
Correct.
correct.
It just kind of seems like we're trying to put a lot of, we're all clear we need is whether when the select board asked, has the planning board reviewed this, we could say yes, if he gets us all the information. I mean, the need for, it seems like we're just putting too much on it, where it's not that, not since he's doing a citizen petition, he doesn't really need the, I think we're putting
Well,
too
I
much
think one of the issues,
time constraints on him.
one of the issues here is if, so, is a timing issue.
Yes, that's my other point. I'm just trying to, they seem to do get these hearings out to make all that, and for people to come. Just it's I don't think we have enough time. But for Clete to just give us the information for us to review it, we could decide whether whether the board itself thinks it's beneficial, or in no contest, whatever, it can still get to the townspeople to make that decision. That's who should make it.
And Sean, that's how I sort of feel about this. If it's going to be recommended by the planning board, I don't feel we got the time. If it's going to be a citizen's petition and they're looking for a recommendation from us, basically after the 2 meetings of review, I find that a little bit more where we've had time to talk about it, but we haven't, there's no procedure we have to go through. I'm okay with that. I just, to sponsor it, I'm not comfortable
Can't
with
we at
that.
least advertise it? And if at the 13th, all I'm going to do to you on the 13th is I'm going to read the bylaw that what's allowed in the business uses and what's allowed in industrial. And if you guys decide at that point, and it's pretty easy, you don't want business uses in industrial zones, then you don't put it on. I put it on myself, but at least get it advertised. Let's try to move it forward. What does it hurt?
Doesn't the warrant close on the 2nd? That's why I'm saying, Cleo. I don't know if we're having enough to do it that way, because the warrant closes on the 2nd, right? Isn't what they decided yesterday?
Yeah, they did.
So
We're not going to have time to go through any type of procedure. I can't give advice. I'm not an attorney or anything like that, but I think you might want to think about a citizen's petition because you've only got till next Friday to get this thing in.
Yeah, but at least hold a public hearing on it. Do your thing anyway.
All right.
I ask you to do that, but and I'll bring it in as a citizen's petition so it gets on the warrant, and maybe it gets voted anyway. But maybe by the town meeting, you decide that it's okay, and you would, but maybe you won't. I'm not saying you have to, but it's pretty simple.
Does that, Norm, make maybe some transparency for the planning board, even though we're not sponsoring it, we're having a public hearing to get input on it?
I don't think we can schedule even a public hearing until that warrant article is at least in existence. It may not be on a warrant yet, but it's got to at least be in the selectmen's hands.
Okay.
And to be perfectly honest with you, at least in the past, we, I believe, have to receive a request from the select board to hold a public hearing.
Yeah. For a bylaw change.
For a bylaw change.
Yeah. I remember too.
Now, for that to happen by the 13th, I don't know. Dave, what do you think?
Well, if the planning board is not going to sponsor it, then on our own initiative, we don't have anything before us at this point. If you wait for the warrant to close on the 2nd,
We don't have to wait for the warrant to close.
well, then okay, so the warrant, let's just play it out a little bit. So what are you suggesting that if the warrant article is drafted tomorrow and circulated to the select board by Thursday and then transmitted to the planning board by Friday, if you want to have a hearing on the 13th, I would need to draft that legal ad by Thursday at the very latest.
Mhm.
And that would assume that the select board has received the warrant from the citizen, and then has transmitted it to the planning board on a timely basis. Otherwise, you're into the second meeting in April. If things go according to the planning board, select board receives it, then distributes it.
Mhm. See, I know,
I think.
I know Anita has, I believe, already received another citizen's petition and has forwarded it to the select board.
Is it for us, Norm, or is it for another? Is it a?
We will have something to do with it.
Oh boy. Okay.
But I don't think the deadline though it has ended for submittals.
No,
That's
no.
not until
the
the warrant closes.
The problem with the deadlines is the notice requirements for holding a public hearing, among other things. It's, the time that it takes to get the petition submitted, to be transferred to the select board, for the select board to notify us, for us to then schedule a public hearing and advertise it in the newspaper.
We're just up against a wall right now.
No, it can be done. Because it doesn't have to be done until the day before town meeting.
I'm okay with it, it can be done.
I mean, let me ask this, Norm. Is this something that, and Clee, I guess I'm putting the onus on you, that Clee could walk through, walk this citizen's petition into the Board of Selectmen's admin tomorrow and basically want it to get transmitted to the select board and then
We'll actually go to the clerk.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks, Sean. Go to the clerk and then basically, be that guy that makes sure that the Board of Selectmen gets it tomorrow. And there's some, the problem is they're not going to have a meeting until Monday. So, or if they're even having a meeting on Monday. So,
Well, yeah, it's the 29th. I don't think they're having a meeting.
So,
Why not just advertise? You guys can hold a public hearing on anything you want, anytime you want. Doesn't matter. Just advertise it. I'll run the thing over to them. I'll talk to the Ron or his assistant tomorrow. See if I can get that in and see how to get it in. I don't know how to. I was thinking the planning board would sponsor it, but I'll do what I got to do to get it in front of them. I'll get those.
And I would just say that if that's going to be possible for this one, it should also be possible for the other one, so that we can advertise them all together.
What's the other one? I guess I didn't know about a second one.
It hasn't been plainly stated as to what that is. So.
Okay.
That doesn't have anything to do with me, does it?
No.
Okay. I was gonna say, what else did I do?
I mean, what does the board think? Because I'm the one doing the talking, and I'm frustrated because I don't think we got enough time. But
well, Tim, I got to tell you, like, if you listen to what's allowed in the business zone and what's allowed in the industrial zone.
Oh, Clee,
I bet you'll say that's fine. I know, but that's really all. That's all the decision is, and it's one line, It's the simplest way to get it done. It's one line added. It doesn't change any zoning maps, nothing. And it goes back, and it's been that way forever and ever and ever. It just changed recently.
Yeah, I know, and so has the bylaw and changing the town meetings changing back. I get that, but it's the procedure where, like Norm said, the select board's got to give us a request after they receive the petition. And I don't want to step on toes and just do stuff without the proper procedure, or we're basically doing what we told the select board not to do to us a couple months back. So I really don't want to be not following our own procedures, and that's my how I'm trying to figure this out, and I just don't see an easy way to do it.
I'll beat to your drum. However you guys tell me to do it, I'll do it. Whatever you want to do.
I just think it would be safer if we at least decided on, not scheduling, but decided on the public hearing on the 27th of April rather than the 13th. That gives a little bit of a cushion for it to get to the town clerk, to the town administrator, to the select board, and back to the planning board.
I'm good with that, Norm.
And that's on the citizens petition. I got a little.
Yes.
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 I'm happy with that.
Then would you like to just take the special permit one on the same date? It's like we can just do one advertisement, advertise all 2 or 3 of these things, and do it all on the 27th. You just have a meeting. Hopefully, it's just for the rezoning changes.
Okay. What's the special permit?
As I indicated previously, currently there's about 25 special permit findings of fact that have to be made. The idea is to strike those.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I remember now, Dave. Yeah.
Okay.
So I wonder if you want to do all the rezonings together on one night, or if you want to do that one on the 13th and then do the other one or two, whatever it is, on the 27th.
Norm, why don't we just do them all in one night and kill all birds with one
That's
stone?
That's what I'm trying to get some guidance on.
We'll put Cleese first and do this special one second.
And the other
On the
one.
27th.
On the 27th, yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
All right, fine.
Well, no, I'm just asking Norm. I'm not making any.
Yeah, it has to go through. It's still contingent to wait till he submits it though to the select board, because you can't you can't make an advertisement for a public hearing on something that hasn't been submitted yet, right?
I think what I'm asking is whether or not the one that's being sponsored by the planning board through staff should occur on the 27th or not. And if the other ones aren't in a good form or properly transmitted, then they don't happen on the 27th.
Yeah, well, I would personally need to see stuff on the 13th to have George come in and explain. I mean, I know it's just one line, but he has to write up the changes. There's a form that the clerk gives him that he has to write everything out and then get the signatures, and then that gets submitted back to the clerk. We need to know exactly the wording. He can say change one line, that's fine. I still need to see what line's going to be changed and what section, subsection that portion is on the bylaw. I mean, if you're going to do it by procedure, you need to do it right. I still say that when the town asked, we said we've discussed it. It's been thoroughly discussed. Maybe do if it's a straw vote. If it can't fully give the recommendation, that way it kind of takes it off on the board completely and leaves up to the individual person.
I'd rather have the planning board sponsor it than do a citizen's petition. I've already submitted all the paperwork to have you guys sponsor it. Why don't we wait till the 27th? If you're not comfortable, we'll go to the next meeting, or we'll go to the next meeting after that. I'm not in any huge rush.
Well, town meeting's on the 8th of May.
Right, but I mean, if you guys are okay with it by the 27th and it's on the warrant, I can get them to put it on the warrant. But if you guys are okay with it, you can, we can do it that way. If not, I'm listening to what Sean's saying, and I got to go get signatures. How many signatures do I need?
25, I think, isn't it?
It's 10 signatures.
Okay.
Go
around Honey
I got
Farms.
that in my family.
I was gonna say your family's big enough, Cleve.
Yeah.
If I could just once again, just when we originally discussed this, because of the issues with business retention and opportunities, the idea was to do something that doesn't just affect one property, but affects any property in that zone. And I thought the idea was to have it sponsored by the planning board, at least based upon the prior conversations for the map amendment, which would pretty much accomplish the same thing as this. So if that's not the case, I just want to be sure that's what I'm hearing, and that is just a citizen's petition. Is that?
Personally, I kind of I'm favoring the citizens petition.
Yeah, I am too, Norm.
I think it's a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, because otherwise the burden is on us, in my opinion, to try to get stuff done in the last minute, and nothing ever becomes of that well for procedural. Especially since I think the biggest drawback right now, Norm, is getting the select board to send us a recommendation on our bylaw change. I don't think that's going to happen fast.
Can we take a straw vote on the citizens petition? Do we know where we stand with it?
I haven't read
Well,
any.
I got to see the citizen petition before I take a straw vote on it.
Yeah, me too.
I'll get that done. I'll get that done tomorrow, and then
but
I'll get it signed. So
But Norm, I like Dave's thought process of let's at least get the special permit scheduled for the 27th, so that gives us some leeway for if we decide to go the route of sponsoring it. We've got time. We're not getting backed into a wall on the 13th of having to have a public hearing.
Well, no, wait a minute. This special permit thing, that is planning board sponsored.
Oh, I know, but if we do, we need the select board to give us a recommendation for that, or?
I don't believe so. I think we can simply hold a public hearing on that.
Okay.
And do we have time to get the public hearing in on the 13th?
I would say we would, yes.
Okay.
And all I'm going to say is, at this point, if you take a look at the time right now, which is already 9:30, if we were to hold, and I'm just going to say it again, 3 public hearings, or public hearing with 3 different changes, all of which will probably have some discussion, 9:30 might seem early.
When it comes to timelines of these meetings, for whatever reasons, it's part of our civic duty. Whether I personally, since I have a family, like to get these. I mean, now that we're not, let's say if everything was back to normal, we were holding meetings back up at the annex and stuff. Yes, it would behoove to get out of there early, but it's our due diligence to say that we don't have a time frame. I mean, or that say our meetings need to end by 9. I mean, that's just part of the job description. It's kind of like.
Yeah, but I'm a volunteer, Sean. I work 8 or 10 hour day. I'm going to be useless for another. If I go past 4 hours of a meeting, my attention span is going to be useless. I'll tell you that right now. That's proven.
Sean, if I may, on Zoom, there is a limit to how long you can have the meeting for. And I know when you set it up, Dave would probably have to pick the longest amount of time possible. I'm not sure how long it goes for, but it does eventually kick you off.
Well, Norm, let me ask this. If we set up the 13th for the special permit, because we know what we have to do for that, and then we reserve the 23rd for possibly the industrial one and maybe the other citizens petition, does that make sense?
To me, it does.
I mean, I think that's what we should do to give Dave direction. Let's get that one for the special permit, reducing the amount of steps, because we've talked about this 6 ways from Sunday to try to get that form in better shape. Let's get that on the docket for the 13th, and then let Clee get us the format of what he wants to do. We can look it over, and we can plan for the 27th on that. The problem I've got is if this other one comes into us, we're not going to have another meeting to the 13th. So what do we do about that? Because the 13th, I mean, we literally would have to, it's 14 days, right? Or is it 10 days? I apologize. I don't remember.
14 days for the legal notice.
So if we had a meeting on the 13th, how could we schedule the 27th for that other special permit that other citizens petition that's coming in?
You'd have to have the transmission of those 2 items by the 2nd, so that it could be advertised on the week of the 9th for newspaper publication of the 12th and 19th for a hearing date of the 27th.
Yeah, and we don't even have that in our hands yet, right? At least Cleese, we understand what he's trying to do, and we can move forward with that. But this other one, I don't know how that's going to happen.
What other one? What are we talking about?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll make it clear. It's your citizens petition, Sean.
Okay, but that's going through. I'm trying to. Does that really need to be? Well, I guess if it is sponsored, yeah. How about on contingent that Cleve puts it through to Anita for if he can get it by the select meeting by the 5th, we could have, the chair go to that meeting, and I mean, we could all attend it. I mean, couldn't that be a joint meeting then? That way.
Let me ask this,
make it possible. Just for that specific reason, and then we can adjourn and then move on because of time constraints.
Let me ask it. I've got a suggestion. The select board is having joint meetings with the FICOM. Couldn't we put together a joint meeting with them outside of our standard meeting time to take these into effect, to get these cleaned up?
Oh, yeah, we can hold special meetings. The one thing I don't know, I think I know the answer, but I don't know for certain, is whether the select board actually has to vote to forward these things to the planning board, or whether, for example, the chairman can simply instruct the administrator to.
I think we should find that out tomorrow from Mitch or I guess from Mitch.
But I'm going to go get the form from Anita, and I'm going to file citizens petition. That's what I'm going to do, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And get the description from George.
Well, it's basically Norm kind of read it. It's one line. It's pretty simple, but I'll do that. I'll put that right on there, and I'll get that done tomorrow. So that'll be done.
We're going round and round.
I just have a quick question on this one that Clee has in mind here. So, light industrial district has a purpose section, and it says that the district is to reserve an area for tax generating non-residential uses. That's the purpose section of the industrial. Now, business indicates that any use permitted in the residence district is allowed in the business district. So would the board like to exclude residential, or how would you like to advise here?
Yeah, see, this is where we're getting into where I was concerned, where that's the reason we came up with the TC zones, to have residential and business mix. If we just put the business in, we basically says you can have residential and business and industrial in there. I'm not comfortable with that.
No, wait a minute. I'm talking uses. Does it say?
Okay.
It does, in the business district, number 1, says any use permitted in a residence district, which is at odds with the purpose section of light industrial, which is a reserve area for tax generating non-residential uses.
All right, so what that's saying is that if I wanted to build houses, I could build houses.
Yes.
Then what's wrong with that?
That's not what we set the TC zones up for in that area for. It was business and residential. So we just basically, we spot zoned an area inside our town center area.
Okay, well, I mean, we can. I don't care about that because I'm not going to build houses. But yeah. I don't know why. Anyways, doesn't matter. Well, I'm going to file a citizen petition. We can talk about it, and we could beat it to death tonight. But I'll eliminate that from it, Dave. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. And that the only other thing you may want to have George consider is that uses in the business district, some uses require a site plan review process, as do uses in the light industrial. You may just want to nail down, you just may want to parrot the language that if it's a business use and it needs site plan, it would still need site plan, and that would be done by the zoning board.
Got it.
But let me ask, Dave, why we're discussing this, Norm, too. This is this because we have zoning districts established as light industrial / office and light industrial. Isn't this designated as light industrial / office?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just light industrial, it's light industrial office. And again, I apologize. I haven't read that zone to be as familiar as I should with it, but I just wanted to, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm seriously brain dead right now.
I've already turned into a pumpkin an hour ago, so I'm.
Yeah, I seriously need a stove right now, bad. I don't even know what.
I'll take care of it. I know what I really do have a good idea what to do. I know what you guys.
But Norm, I think we should give Dave direction that because I agree with you. There's no way we're going to do 3 of these in a night. That's not going to happen.
I think I heard it.
We'll be zombies.
Actually advertise for the special permit findings of fact tomorrow. Do that one on the 13th. And if we get a transmission of these other 2, we'd have enough time to schedule on the 27th if we get it transmitted to the planning board on a very timely basis.
I'll make that motion.
Got it.
Second.
Okay, whatever the motion was, any discussion?
No way.
I knew Dick was going to do this to me.
Okay, let's do a roll call. Dick?
Aye.
Marilyn?
Aye.
Sean?
Since, which I didn't know it was going to be up for a public hearing, I'm going to have to abstain since my thing's being discussed on, so I abstain.
Tim?
Aye.
Norm? Aye. Motion carries.
So Dave, we've given you direction.
Excellent.
He's clear as mud, Tim.
I swear I'm seeing Dave's hair turn grayer as I'm looking.
Yeah. Well, all I was trying to do, Norm, is get some communication with the planning board. That'd be us, duh. With the select boards, so they know it's coming.
Well, listen, I'm gonna go to bed. So good night.
All right, night, Clay.
Thank you for everything tonight. I appreciate it, and I'll
Night.
follow through on everything. I wrote it down, so I'll get it all done. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
What else do we got that we can?
Okay.
Gas.
Okay, we have Rutland Plaza special permit findings.
Is that the one we're doing on the 13th, right, Dave?
Yep.
What? Oh, okay.
Next item is 11.
Okay, item 11 is the,
Before you go off 10, Norm, I just wanted to ask, do you have that written up, Dave, that we could take a look at it yet?
I'm running a little bit behind, but I will have that ready for the next meeting, if not earlier. Basically, what you're gonna see is a bunch of strike through on the existing findings of fact to be, it's a repeal and replace. So
Yeah,
repeal
yeah,
and replace as a strike through, you see that. And then you'll see the replacement, which are 8 findings of fact that are more typical to updated bylaws.
I just wanted to get it a couple days before we have the public hearing, so I got a chance to look it over in case questions come up.
Yes, you will have it by then.
Okay,
You will have
thank
it
you.
before the public hearing on the 13th.
Excellent. All right, that's it. 11.
okay. Okay, review food truck use review decision.
So, like I said, they're are up and running. I mean, they started the day after our last meeting. Was that permissible, or was it?
Well, site plan review does not have an appeal period. But it seems to me that that's, kind of stretching it to do it before we sign the decision.
Yeah.
Which brings the question, what do we do about it?
Sign them. We need the money.
Yeah.
Well, on the flip side, Norm, we can use this as a period of there's been no accidents and no issues. So our decision actually has proven itself in 2 weeks of use.
Uh-huh.
Well, yeah, but they still have the buses down there, the oil truck. I mean, I don't know if that's part of the Board of Health.
Well, hold
code
on a second.
for-
That oil truck better not be in the entrance, or then I'm going to have a problem. I haven't been down there. I apologize, but if that oil truck, Dick,
There was no oil truck and there were no school buses there today.
Okay.
all right. I just wanted to make sure because I think we were pretty clear that that oil truck had to be moved out of the entranceway.
Right.
Yes. On number on the findings, number 4, I would say offhand, it says the neighborhood the lot is located in consists, and I think, should it say the neighborhood in which the lot is located?
I'm not really sure it makes a big difference. I mean, is it understood that it's specific to the area and that with respect to where the use is located, that the neighborhood character is the following? I mean, if that's not clear, I can.
You do have to read it carefully, but it says what it's intended to say.
Well, it's
Good
to
with
me,
the review decision?
How about in number 7? I for some reason or other I wanted to get the 21E in there, but adequate utility service and drainage. So, and that still bugs me is the bathroom. If you're using water from that facility to wash your hands and whatever. That's why I'm concerned.
You mean from like a porta potty? Or
Not the porta potty, but if they had the restroom in the building.
I see.
You don't happen to have that plan in front of you, do you?
I don't think it's on there. I don't have it, but I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
So what, the hand-drawn plan?
Yeah.
Are hand-drawn plans acceptable? I mean, for everything, or I was kind of.
The building inspector requires for buildings a engineered drawing, but this was site plan review, so that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I picture I took.
Put it this way, I had it the last time, but I don't have it with me right now.
Yeah.
If your question is whether that plan shows a porta potty, it does not.
It does not. That's what I was looking for, Dave.
On there.
All right. Well, what do we do?
Perfectly honest with you, I don't even recall the discussion about bathrooms.
I don't either.
I thought I remember saying he was going to have portable, but I can't trust my memory because again, that was late.
Like I said,
Is
no
that
recollection
planning
of
board?
stuff.
I mean, it would have to be on the site plan.
Packet. Damn it. Well, what do we do? Sign it, not sign it? Do we add, let me ask this, Norm, do we add in
I found the map.
all right, as Dave said, there's no porta potties, so I got to agree with him on that one. So do we put something in our findings as public restrooms need to be portable, not use property water?
Well, they usually don't use property water.
I mean, are public restrooms needed? I mean, needed for a food truck?
That would be a Board of Health issue.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think so, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen food trucks up in front of the library. I mean, there's no, they don't have.
Yeah. I don't think that's something
That's up for us.
I don't think we can determine that.
Okay. But he did say, if I remember right, Norm, that all water and wastewater was coming in and going off the property. There wasn't going to be any water used on the property, if I remember that correctly.
It was all self-contained.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would say that's gray water, though, not.
But that doesn't say anything about in the building itself.
Well, he indicated, and I'm hoping it's in our findings, that the building was only used for storage, no preparation or no anything else. It was just storage.
Storage and electrical service.
Yeah. Basically, storage is the only thing he was using it for, and then he was using a hookup for electrical.
I'm sorry, man.
If I may, I think the conversation came about because one of the abutters asked if there was going to be a restroom because she was concerned about people using the grass instead. And if I remember correctly, Mark indicated that there was a bathroom available to them to use in the building, but I don't believe he indicated that it was going to be a public restroom.
Thanks, Tamika.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes.
And if we need to, we could always go back to the recording too.
Boy, I'll tell you, Tamika, you've got better listening ears than any of us have.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's my job.
or that little one's got you trained really well.
This is the only time of day when I can focus on something without voices in the background. So maybe that's why I'm picking up on it.
what do we do? Do we sign it? Do we amend it? What do we do?
Well, I think one answer is that the toilets are the Board of Health.
Yeah.
Our other issue is that they started early, or is there a third issue?
I'm with you, Marilyn. Even if they started early, what can we do? Other than go buy some food.
Give a slap on the wrist.
Ask if anybody stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
No, they've been.
You will provide free food for our next planning board.
As long as it's under $25.
Right.
If there's no additional things, then I make a motion to sign it.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's even our jurisdiction to make sure they don't start early.
Well, I just want all facts there.
Actually, that would be the zoning enforcement officer.
Which is the building inspector, correct?
Yes.
Does the building inspector know about that form?
Well, he should keep up on what's
Well, I got
down.
Yeah, and I apologize. This meeting's late, but I just wanted to bring, after we're done with this, just one quick item up that affects our accessory town agricultural bylaw that I got a problem with, and I'm not sure if it's us or not, but.
Any further discussion on this decision?
Well, I'll forego it. I'll go along. I'll make a motion that we.
No, we've already got a motion.
Actually,
Well,
I'm sorry, everybody. I abstained at the last meeting because the guy's my neighbor. So I'm gonna have to rescind that motion.
All right, Dick, make your motion and I'll second it.
motion on what?
I'll rescind my second or I'll make a motion to sign the decision.
I'll second.
One more time, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Dick?
Aye.
Marilyn?
Aye.
Sean, you're gonna abstain?
Abstained.
Tim?
Aye.
Norm? Aye. Motion carries.
But I will, if I do see the building inspector or I do see Board of Health, I'm voicing my concern.
Yeah.
Well, and Dick, I understood the Board of Health was supposed to have to go back up there to check his operation too, to make sure everything was clean, so. Asking the Board of Health about the bathroom facilities is not a bad question.
Yeah. All right.
All right, Norm, tell me when we get to the not anticipated within 48 hours question.
Okay, let me see. Okay, we have one more decision to look at. Certificate of action on the Brice Lemon amendment.
Well, personally, I think we discussed this one very thoroughly in the past. And I'm in favor of it.
Same.
Norm, do we need a motion or are we just gotta sign it?
We need a motion to sign the certificate.
I make a motion regarding the changes to the Phase 3 road layout and not to require any cul-de-sac plantings in the Brice Lemon Estates subdivision.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Once again, roll call vote. Tim,
Aye.
Sean,
Aye.
Marilyn,
Aye.
Dick,
All right.
Norm, aye. Unanimous. Okay, I'm kind of hoping that both of these are limited information. Number 13, Town Center Study Update.
Yeah, so, and to be brief, there's gonna be a forum on the 7th of April. The PR materials have gone out. They've been distributed to the town's website, the town's Facebook page, and to the members of the Town Center Study Committee. So there'll be a next meeting for the Town Center Study Committee on the 30th, hopefully to review questions that we've received in the meantime, which we're looking to get in advance of the forum.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
Oh, hopefully it'll all go well.
Yeah. Number 14, Master Plan Update.
Yeah, master plan update. So the next master plan steering committee meeting is on the 25th, on Thursday of this month. So far, the website has been finished and the website is accessible to the public. The PR materials for the PR materials for the project have been developed and distributed. We're working on a benchmark study. A timeline has been prepared and will be reviewed by the committee on the 25th. So we're early, but it's our third meeting. But we're working towards getting a survey put out to be distributed to the public, and then look at the survey results, have a forum, draft a vision statement, and go from there.
Okay, again, any questions, comments? Okay, Tim, you're up.
Hey, this came to my attention when I was driving up on what do you call it, Maple Ave, is that the Schultz Farm property has changed names, and the restaurant on there has basically all the permits expired, and now they're looking to reopen it up. And it would be under the accessory bylaw. So is that something, and maybe this is for Dave, is that something that we have to get involved in, or is this just the building inspector?
Well, as I understand it, there was an existing restaurant.
It's closed.
On the site that predates the zoning bylaw going into effect. Is that correct?
Yep, but the permit's expired. So as far as I'm concerned, game over, start over. And I'll ask the building inspector that, because it's not a transfer, it's a new owner. So, you know.
Is it
Well, the restaurant
still within the family?
Nope. The person that's going to run it is not family.
And is it the owner of the property, or?
I don't know that, but it's got a new name. I mean, anyhow, so I just didn't know if the planning board has purview over this, or, I mean, I have no problem talking to the building inspector about this. I just didn't know, because it's going to fall under, I presume, the accessory bylaw farm. Is that something we have to get involved in? If it's,
I think in this particular case, because it was a restaurant that existed before the bylaw went into effect, that restaurant, I understand, was a long-term situation there. I believe that restaurant has vested rights as long as they maintain it as was previously carried out and don't expand it. I'm not sure that there's any additional permits that are needed at this time. If they were to expand it and make it larger, yes, but it predates the zoning bylaw, and it appears to have been there for a very long time. So I believe it has vested rights.
Even
You
if
may
it's
want to check with the
closed.
building commissioner if you need more clarification on that.
Yeah, I'll do that because it's closed and all the permits expired and now they're going to reopen it up. I have a hard time given, and all the equipment's been taken out. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's no different than the KPs up by the ball field. It's basically a derelict building with nothing inside it. So I'll ask, I just didn't know if the planning board has any vested rights in that, because if it's reopening up, doesn't it fall under the accessory bylaw?
You see,
But
I think there needs to be a distinction made here when we talk about permits. Permits issued by the select board or the board of health to allow uses within the jurisdiction of those entities is one thing, which is a different lens than looking at it through the zoning perspective. Under
Yeah.
the zoning perspective, I think there's a strong case to be made that's a pre-existing non-conforming use. So while the licenses may have lapsed for the other purposes, such as board of health and select board, it would not necessarily lose its protections under zoning.
But my case, Dave, that I was making was, if somebody, you know, had a house and they decided to abandon it, tear it down, whatever, and wanted to build a new house or start over, they wouldn't get any grandfathered protections under that for that piece of property. So I'm struggling with why a restaurant would.
Well, but in the case of a house, the house has protections for 2 years. So if the use has been abandoned and discontinued, it's a two-pronged test. If the non-conforming use has been abandoned and discontinued for 2 years or more, then that use loses its vested rights. So the same principle would apply here for non-conformity. So the analysis is whether or not it was intentionally abandoned and discontinued both together for a period of 2 years or greater.
Which isn't true. That's not true. Yeah. Okay.
In which I think the owner still owns the same property.
Yeah, Schultz still owns the property. He's just changed the name and he's leasing it out to another individual.
That is correct.
Yep. And then my next concern to the building inspector is, I want this accessory bylaw for restaurants actually verified. I'm tired of hearing about products being sold that aren't from 50% from Massachusetts and 25% from the farm. If you're going to come under the bylaw, by God, you're going to follow it then. So I'm going to ask the building inspector that question, because that zoning bylaw came under the planning board, and I asked multiple times who's going to enforce it, and I could never get an answer. So now I'm going to make the zoning enforcement officer, my understanding, does that. So I'll take care of that. All right, that was it.
The hops are still coming from New Braintree.
Well, I'd like to see that up at the Buffalo Farm or whatever that bar, that beer place that Kevin Jarvie has, because I don't believe all that beer is being made in Massachusetts, being bought from outside sources. So I don't know where that's made.
The meat too. He's not serving buffalo there.
No. Yeah. So I can't believe 50% of that stuff there is from Massachusetts. Show me the proof. Anyhow, I'm off on a tangent. Sorry, it's late. I'm tired.
Charles.
Yeah. No. Anyhow, I just think there's too many loopholes in this accessory bylaw for issues to happen. That's all I'll state it. So anyhow, that's it. Move on. Adjourn. Do whatever.
To adjourn.
Oh, move out.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. Is there any discussion?
We already adjourned. This was extra.
No, we didn't vote to adjourn.
Did you get a motion?
Yep, we now have a motion and a second.
Okay.
Dick Williams, aye.
Okay, Dick, aye. Marilyn?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Norm? Thank God, aye. We are adjourned.